Where should I start off at? Okay, first of all, let me just start over. Diddy was taken into custody. He was first of all, let's stop. He was arrested. Here's the thing. He was supposed to be arrested on Tuesday, right? He was supposed to be arrested on Tuesday. Thank you. Shout out to Jamie for actually helping me out. Okay, you can hear that. Okay. He was supposed to be arrested on Tuesday. This is what they had planned. However, something happened. Something changed. They had reason to believe that Diddy was going to try to flee the country, or there was going to be some issue with arrest, or he was actively in the process of committing some other thing. That's the only reason they moved up, committing another crime. That's the only reason they moved in early on arrest. People are saying his lawyers were negotiating his arrest. They were negotiating his arrest. He was supposed to be taken into custody on Tuesday. All right. Something happened. Something happened that made them move in tonight. Not only did they take this mofo into custody, but they are actively searching his place. I don't know if it's it's not. Well, it might be an Airbnb money site. They are actively searching where he has been staying in New York. After right now, the feds, it wasn't enough for them to raid what was going on in Los Angeles, baby. They doing Call of Duty 4 and bringing in their best CSI forensics to come, and they are actively looking through his house. Diddy is done. Now, I got to do a little shimmy for all y'all that said it had never happened. What's going on? This and that. The powers that be. Y'all need to realize that's not the way things work in the real world. Y'all been watching too many horror films, too many double shows, too many things about evil triumphing over good. For God's sakes, for those cynical people that thought this monster wasn't going to be taken into custody, please go read the Bible. Did we not see good triumph over evil a million times? It is a tale as old as time. The universe arc bends toward good and light. And the biggest thing the devil will do, besides eating your soul and committing you to a lifetime of misery, but one of the things that the devil will do is convince you there's no point in trying to stop the tyranny of evil men. There's no point in trying because it's too powerful. Baby, it ain't never been like that. People that didn't think this was happening, please go read the Bible. Y'all need the Bible. Y'all need a hug. Y'all need everything. All right. Now, before we get into all these reports and before I get into the inside tea, I got to tell you one of the big things that everybody's saying. Okay. And I've heard this honestly for the last 2 or 3 weeks. Now, I told y'all Diddy was in New York. Y'all called me a liar. I told y'all that the grand jury was in its final thing investigation. Y'all said it was all cap. I told y'all that the grand jury had invited Diddy to actually testify in front of it. Y'all said ain't no way. Well, guess what? There was a way, there was a when, there was a how. However, Diddy's lawyers have been working overtime to negotiate the best. Again, you don't hire those type of lawyers unless you know you're going down. So all those people being like, guess what? Diddy knew something y'all didn't. The lawyers knew it. Now, the thing is, where was Diddy running to? Where was Diddy hiding? Remember when we did that thing about Diddy's private jet was flying, but he wasn't on it and feds were there and all this stuff? That might have been a test run. See, here's the thing. Diddy's last girls, didn't they just graduate? Diddy, we would assume because he's done this whole involved father thing that he wouldn't run because that would subjugate his kids to things and be very hard. But at the end of the day, if all these accusations can be believed, Diddy is a monster and probably doesn't care about anybody but himself. We need to ask ourselves, why did the feds move in early? My sources are saying, and you can take them with a grain of salt, there were concerns that they wouldn't be able to grab him Tuesday. So they rolled up on him Sunday night and they just took him into custody. All right. Let's get into all the reports. Oh, that's what I wanted to tell y'all. So there's a little tea that I've been hearing for the last 3 weeks. And I just got to put it out there. And when we read the full indictment, you'll see what we're talking about. I think a lot of people are going to be very, very, very surprised at who is named in the indictment and who is named as Diddy co-conspirators. Because here's another thing I want to say. This is why I was so adamant about Diddy and all monsters getting out the community. I don't give a damn if the monster looked like me, brought me into this world. I don't care, man or woman. You could have brought me into this world. You could have carried me for 9 months. I don't care. We're not doing this, because the thing is with monsters like this, it is a cycle of abuse. It's a cycle of abuse that has to be broken, because eventually when someone's around a monster enough, it's like a disease that affects your blood, right? And only two things can happen. One, you can choose to lead this very noble life and go the other way, which oddly enough happens, but not as much as you would think or hope. Or you can turn into a monster. And then the abused becomes the abuser. The people that were subjugated to abuse, that witnessed abuse, that condoned the abuse, they themselves get infected in that virus, almost like zombies, right? And you are now actively inflicting that on other people. Keep that in mind as this indictment is read and as the indictment comes out. I think a lot of us will be shocked, disappointed, but we need to keep in mind that we cannot tie justice to a person. Just like we cannot apply justice to a person. We cannot ride out for somebody no matter what. We're going to have to clearly identify what are our principles, what do we want to stop, what is our goals, and anyone that aligns with that, we rock them with you. And if you don't, okay, I'm sorry, you've been infected, and we got to treat you just like the monster. Because if we allow our own personal feelings about people we don't even know, our own personal feelings based off of PR images and propaganda, well, we might let a monster out on the street. So just keep that in mind, okay? Now let's get into this, right? One, where's our perp walk? You know the federal government loves a good perp walk. They be ironing out their freshest pair of chinos, taking out their little Letterman jackets that say Homeland Security, doing all this mess, right? Doing all this mess. And good for them, because it's a deterrent for crime. They be just putting their little Letterman jackets on that say HSI, got their fresh cuts, got their Oakleys all shined up, pulling them out, looking at the camera like, and you know how they love to be step queens. They be perp walking someone and be like, no pictures, no pictures. Well, that fresh fade and shape up. Shut up, right? So you have to wonder, where is the perp walk? Where is this delivery we were promised? Well, people said the fact that Diddy was taken into custody in the dark of night in New York City after all the news organizations had closed. Well, the desk had closed. People are still up. After all this and whatnot, two things. One, Diddy's lawyers were viciously, right, and vehemently trying to organize some type of handover that would cause him to have the minimal, inflict the minimum amount of embarrassment, because apparently they're using that whole thing about if you guys bust in and kick in the door and wave the 4-4, when he's taken into custody, it's going to make him look more guilty. That's going to prejudice the jury pool, people seeing these images all over. And Diddy's team might move for the case to be moved out of the Southern District of New York. Or they might say, oh, the jury pool's been tainted. We can't do this. We want a mistrial. Don't put anything past those mofos. The feds were already on top of it. They said, all right, well, this mofo wants to come in. He can come in. When's he coming in? Now, that's the thing. They said, okay, he'll be on the Tuesday. They said, all right. They were busy ironing their chinos with a little spray starch or, some little linen spray, giving a nice lavender spray, and ironing their chinos. And something happened. And they said, abort mission. This mofo was not going to be allowed to just walk in Tuesday morning. He is on the move. Something's going on. We have serious doubts whether he will show up on Tuesday morning. They rushed in the dead of night, seized I was about to say, about to get demonetized, seized his Momo self, right? Seized his Momo self, and then came in. Hold on really quick, you guys. Hold on. Hold on, you guys. Little technical difficulty. We will be done soon. Anyway, they seized his Momo self, right? And they are actively searching his home. Actively searching his home. They have reason to believe that he was a flight risk. Something went wrong with the deal. They feel like, this is what the streets are saying, they feel like Diddy was not going to keep up with his end of the bargain, and they moved in and grabbed him. Okay. Again, it is what it is. Let's get into this. Pop Crave says, let's listen to Diddy's attorney, Mark Agnifilo. Okay. He said, we are disappointed with it. This is Diddy's attorney. Hold on. Okay, guys, I'm back. So, right? Diddy's attorney, Mark Agnifilo. Now, these are the same people that have been bullying everybody suing Diddy. Don lying, Little Rod lying. Who else? Cassie was lying at one point. Who else? Everybody suing Diddy. Everyone is all trying to get money. I want to see them say that to the feds. I want to see them look at the feds and be like, this is y'all just want money. Money, sir. We literally sitting here eating good off y'all tax dollars. What you mean we need your money? So this is what Diddy's attorney said. We are disappointed with the decision to pursue what we believe is an unjust prosecution of Mr. Combs by the U.S. Attorney's Office. Sean Diddy Combs is a music icon, self-made entrepreneur, loving family man, and proven philanthropist who has spent the last 30 years building an empire, adoring his children, and working to uplift the Black community. And an effing deadbeat who should never say more life. Y'all, listen. The fact that we're about to get into the indictment, but first we have to hear what the things. The fact that Diddy, who preyed on the community, who inflicted, if what these people can be said is true, and if what the feds arrested him for, they can prove, you literally were worse than Bill Cosby and Harvey Weinstein combined. Because at the end of the day, Bill Cosby was definitely setting off generational curses and graping, like his name, like he was a 2-liter jug of Welch's grape soda. He was graping. So was Harvey Weinstein. Diddy decided to do what he can and innovate, right? Mixing it in with some Godfather Frank Lucas street mess. Diddy was not just graping people. He was, according to the feds, sex trafficking. And according to the indictment, he has murked people or attempted to murk people. The fact that this lawyer is now sitting here and thinking you're going to do a we shall overcome moment and mobilize the Black community, which is what Diddy has tried to do several times. And maybe y'all remember I said, not on my watch. You not mobilizing my community. You better get the F out of here. I'm sorry. Okay. I get it. He's a Black man. And guess what? There are Black men in hell along with every other race. And Diddy, you can go take your place. You talking about taking invitations back from the cookout. Diddy, you ain't allowed at the cookout. As a matter of fact, somebody called the Honorable Louis Farrakhan so we can get some Nation of Islam out front guarding the cookout to make sure Diddy and his brethren don't sneak in talking about the Black community. The fact that they said working to uplift the Black community, where does Diddy work to uplift the Black community? I'm being serious. I'm not talking about him walking around the Miami-Dade Mall giving out 50s and 10s or whatever's in his wallet. I'm not talking about him hiring Black women, which back then it seemed like a lot, because back then, if anybody knows, they only wanted women that looked a certain way. So the fact is such a shame that Diddy was one of the few entertainers that embraced Black women. Like, he only had two things: either racially ambiguous with a slightly Asian cast to their eyes, a la Jennifer Lopez and Cassie, or dark chocolate like Kim Porter. That's what Diddy liked. That's what he was into. And it was refreshing because, especially back then, nobody wanted people that had looked like Kim Porter in videos or very real, right? And that's why I think the Black community, especially Black women and everybody, embraced Diddy because he seemed so unapologetically Black. He took what was happening in Harlem and he put it up in the on yachts in St. Tropez. But little did we know that what he was doing was taken from the community and literally making broken people, making generational curses, making drug addicts on these yachts in St. Tropez. And the minute somebody said something, they were either threatened, they had to witness, and he literally ruled with the cruelest intention at all. It makes me so mad. Who is he talking to? Who is his lawyer talking to? Diddy, you would have been better off with Sean Hawley, because there's no way Sean would have said, and working to uplift the Black community, as if we down bad. Uplift, you're saying that this guy who is like the second coming of demon life, if you believe the feds, working to uplift us. Okay, we're disappointed with the decision to pursue. First of all, let's decode this. No, you're not. Because I know when those feds said, yo, we indicting and we coming to get your client. I know that all those lawyers heard was money, 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 money. It was like the beginning of New Jack City. Dun, 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 dun. They heard money, 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 money. Now, I just want to say that Mark Agnifilo's wife was the woman that put up a TikTok calling Don Richards a liar and putting up text messages when Don was saying, yo, I would love to work with you. What's up? Can we work together? This, that, and the third. It's funny how things change. Now you disappointed? I know you are. We're disappointed with the decision to pursue what we believe is an unjust persecution of Sean Diddy Combs. Who said it was unjust? Did Diddy? Is there anybody else around that said that? He's a music icon. Well, according to Little Rod, he is an icon at stealing. He is an icon at making it look like he's a musical prodigy and he don't do nothing but how to exploit people. You forget in Dawn's lawsuit, Dawn said, right? Listen, Dawn said that he was what was getting paid $250,000 for each Ciroc appearance when they were Dirty Money and only giving them $5,000. So in all that, he made about like $6 million. I think they made $60,000. Okay. I know what y'all thinking, right? This is what I'm thinking. He's a music icon. He's a self-made entrepreneur. Listen, let me tell y'all something. I feel like Kendrick is ushering in a new day of self-respect. And I'm not even joking about that. Hold on. I feel like he's ushering in a new day of self-respect for the community. And I'm not even joking about that, because at the end of the day, the fact that they're trying to say that he's a self-made entrepreneur, are we really going to start giving people props because they steal from everybody, control everybody? Yeah, I know. If I was on some Devo stuff, bullying, robbing, stealing, would you really be applauding me, being like, wow, she's a self-made millionaire? Yeah, off the backs of others. Anyway, let's get into these reports. A proven philanthropist. I want to see some receipts, because he didn't even give Howard the money he said that he was actually going to give them. Hold on really quick, y'all. He didn't even give Howard the money that he said that he was actually going to give them. So what are they talking about? Do a proven philanthropist. Diddy, if you don't take yourself out there. Okay, so let's get into this. I will say this, right? It 100% sounds like all my sources are saying that Diddy's attorneys are trying to get ahead of something. Okay? What could have possibly made them change their perp walk and when they were going to take him on Tuesday morning into a raid and arrest? Okay, let's get into this. First of all, let's start with TMZ. I think this is the most important thing to start off with, because I don't care what y'all say. TMZ has had some of the most pro-Diddy coverage in this entire thing. Every time they reported something, it would twist it to make them sound just a little bit more innocent. It would make it sound like, remember when TMZ, when I was like, yo, Diddy's under federal indictment and not federal indictment, under investigation. TMZ was like, our sources says it's not true. And I'm like, my sources tell me that mofo's going down. And y'all told me to shut up. And then we found out really quick. The district attorney has made a statement. I repeat, the district attorney has made a statement. They said, earlier this evening, federal agents arrested Sean Combs based on a sealed indictment filed by the Southern District of New York. We expect the move to unseal the indictment in the morning, and we'll have more to say at that time. Yo, let me tell you what I know what's going to be in that indictment if y'all want some predictions. Hold on. Also, I do want to say this, right? Kanye tried to warn us. Remember that day on IG? What day was it? When they said, listen, he sent a message from Puff that said, as soon as I land, we'll meet face to face. Send me an address. He said, Ninja, F you fed. And then he put Jesus as king. Remember he said that he wasn't going to be around Diddy, right? Remember he said he wasn't going to be around Diddy when all that Kim mess was going on because he said that Diddy be murking people and he ain't going to let somebody be murked. And he said they be using you to murk people. Remember when Kim and Chris and all the Kardashians were sitting there dancing at Halloween, dancing on Kanye's grave, talking about, oh, yeah, Diddy. Remember when Chloe was like, yeah, I've been to plenty of Sean Diddy parties, which honestly, I believe that to be true. Poor Chloe. Remember when all that mess was going on? Where are the Kardashians now? Where's Kim now? Where's Chris now? You had that mofo around your kids. Chloe was bragging out she was always at Diddy's parties, right? Where's all of it now? That's right. Okay, hold on, y'all. Let's get into some more information. Again, when this indictment is unsealed, I have it on good authority, and you guys can take this to the bank. Hold on, let me plug my thing in. I have it on good authority, and y'all can take it to. There we go. Y'all can take it to the bank. I have it on good authority that Diddy is facing at least one attempted murking charge for the lady whose name begins with a B for hanging her over a balcony. But again, the most surprising thing is some of the people that are our faves. We'll see how it unfolds. Take it how you want. We're going to just have to realize that people that are abused become abusers too. And sometimes birds of a feather flock together. But that ain't for us to worry about. We'll let the feds deal with it. And if they don't, we will let God deal with it. Again, to everybody that said it wasn't going to happen, I would encourage y'all to read a Bible. The universe always bends. The arc of the universe, no matter how bad things get, it always bends to the path of real, to good, to light. That's why the tyranny of evil men always think of some new weapon, some new cruelty, some new mind trick, because the universe always bends to good. Listen, y'all said I was a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. Okay, let's get into this. I'm going to read through all the reports, and I'm going to sprinkle in the inside information I know. Diddy was arrested and taken into federal custody in New York Monday night. Sources tell TMZ, let's not forget that I believe that TMZ is very, 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 very Diddy friendly. Okay. Get this. Homeland Security raided Diddy's hotel. They swooped into the Midtown Hotel late Monday where Diddy was staying, and they arrested him. We have unconfirmed reports the feds are searching his hotel room. Baby, if they find some bags of Tucci, if they find Brendan sleeping on the sofa bed in his room with a knapsack full of gummies, y'all know Brendan, Little Rod said was his supplier. I said that Little Rod flipped because that's what I heard based upon information and belief. Some of y'all believe that a man who was a close assistant to someone the feds are trying to take down on RICO, schmex trafficking, conspiracy, and all this stuff was caught in possession. And y'all thought the feds was going to let this mofo walk free on a diversion program and giving a slap. Y'all don't know the feds, baby. When the feds want you, they will walk into your house, try to flip you, threaten everybody that they can around you. And if that don't work, they'll walk into your room and be like, I see you got your tag still on your mattress. What's that say here? Rip off for fear of penalty. The feds will go into your room, and if the tag on your mattress says do not remove, and you remove that, you go into jail. And if the tag says please remove after buying and you don't, you go into jail. The feds will do anything they have by any means necessary to within the scope of the law to make sure justice is carried out, and especially Homeland Security. The fact that they took down El Chapo, Jeffrey Epstein, and y'all really think that they let Brendan go with a little slap on the hand diversion program? Please, they diverted him to you about to sing like a canary. Anyway, Homeland Security swooped in. I want to see the footage. I want to see I know they was dressed in their finest doing Call of Duty 4. Homeland Security swooped into a Midtown hotel Monday night around 11:10, where Diddy was staying, and they arrested him. We have unconfirmed reports the feds are searching his hotel room. Pause. You want to know who I want to hear from? I want to hear from Young Miami. Miss, that wasn't the type of person I knew with him. He made me feel secure. I could sit in my womanhood. I want to hear from Young Miami's pretty self. Matter of fact, what is Young Miami up to? What is she up to? Because y'all know my interview with Little Rod. Also, please go watch that interview with Little Rod. Now that Diddy has been arrested, the interview with Little Rod is even more relevant now. Little Rod said he never thought the relationship between Diddy and Young Miami was that serious. Why? Because Diddy would force Miami, or make Miami, or maybe she did it on her own free will, to be around him Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's. She had no choice. She found out about Baby Love, Diddy's youngest baby, while she was being forced to be in Thanksgiving. You know who was never around? Young Miami's kids. You know who she never saw, never had around? Young Miami's kids. They talk about Diddy's a loving father. What type of loving father and family man would make a single mother come and spend Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's Eve at basically his polygamy ranch? Because, well, it's not, they're not married, but in his big love house with all his other girlfriends, spring the baby on. The whole family met the baby at the same time. Young Miami, the kids, everybody. Little Rod talks about it. On top of that, what type of person demands a single mom do it? Now, I see why Young Miami did it. She's like, yo, I got to do what I do. This might change my kids' lives. I don't want them in the industry. This might change. But Diddy was doing that. And this is the man that made you feel safe, that your kids, you either didn't want them around, the love of your life, or they weren't allowed to be around. And it lets you know the way Diddy looked at Young Miami, or the way Young Miami felt about Diddy. Maybe she didn't think her kids should be around Diddy, which is fine. Do what you got to. That's smart of her. But it makes the whole thing about him being a changed person, and she could be free to sit in her womanhood. How you sitting in your womanhood without your kids on Christmas? I understand New Year's Eve, right? The baby's going to be asleep anyway. They don't know nothing about New Year's Eve. Thanksgiving, I don't know, right? Young Miami's American. It's weird not to be around your kids for Thanksgiving, but maybe they so young and they don't like turkey. But Christmas, what children don't want to be around their mom on Christmas? Can you? I'll wait. What kid ain't gonna notice their mommy ain't around on Christmas? I'll wait. Anyway, let's see what Young Miami's up to. Miss said, is she gonna make a statement? You see, Daphne got that. 50 Cent grabbed his baby's mom and said, get over here. Sit down before I sit you down. 50 Cent grabbed Daphne and said, listen, all right, we're going to do everything, but you're going to have to leave that mofo alone. You think 50 Cent has the real reason he's been going after Diddy? Because he was so upset that Daphne was over at Diddy's house. Yeah, maybe. Anyway, hold on. Let's see what Young Miami's up to. We just want to see. Carisha, Young Miami is posting at JT's concert, dancing in the audience. But you know what? Good. Let the circle be broken. Good. And while you out there, go backstage, hug it out, and get back together. The city girls are stronger together. They can each have their own solo careers, but the city girls are stronger together. So, okay. So Carisha is posting at JT's concert, dancing in the audience. We know that she knows he's been taken into custody. Everybody and the mama is probably texting her. So the fact that she's at JT's concert, showing that she's still riding with the city girls, girl, and it's great that they're back together. You ain't gonna stop. There ain't no way in the world that you and JT reuniting with the city girls is going to stop the press from the man that you said you never saw that side of him, and you sitting in your womanhood with them and him getting arrested. Anyway, let's keep going. Where was I at? Oh, that's right. Dancing on Diddy's grave, laughing. So hold on. Okay. They said, we're told Diddy was taken to the FBI field office in Manhattan. TMZ. It appears the action was taken in connection with an ongoing criminal investigation into alleged sex trafficking and other offenses. This is what I mean about TMZ. It's always going light on Diddy. It sex trafficking. What else is it? Sex trafficking, RICO, money laundering. They going for the whole shebang, shabooey. Diddy's attorney, Mark Agnifilo. This is the one. I'm gonna play the TikTok really quick of the wife when she went in with Dawn, because I was like, Diddy's lawyers are making TikToks. Is that the way they plan on fighting all these civil trials, by doing a Johnny Depp offensive? They are out of their minds. And you want to bring in the Black community to rally around you, baby. Kelly Price tried to jump into the comments and be like, I forgive you. And we packed herself up and sent her back to the church. Kelly, you better go sing in that choir and just mind the business, right? Go sing in the choir and mind the business. They're saying that, thank you, Jamie. They are saying that Diddy's mugshot is out. Let's see what Diddy's mugshot looks like. But we don't know if it's real. Hold on. Diddy's mugshot. They're saying, does Diddy have a mugshot out? Come on, where you at? Nah, I don't think this is Diddy's real mugshot. I don't. And the sad thing is, I think he's had so many mugshots. I don't think this is him. This looks computer generated AI. Yeah. Listen, this is the way the mugshot's looking. Can y'all see the screen? This looks AI generated. You know, it looks AI generated. I know Diddy looks Somali, but this is like getting straight on Ellie and bobblehead. Like, nah. They're saying this is his mugshot. We don't know if that's true. I'll put it back on the screen for anybody that wants to see. But this looks like a computer generated AI. But then again, I don't know. Y'all think this is the real mugshot? They say this is his real mugshot. Do y'all think it is? I don't know. I don't know. Anyway, let's get back into the TMZ foolery. We think it's in connection with the raid. Maybe. Okay. Law enforcement sources have said that Diddy's arrest was scheduled for Tuesday, but something happened that caused the feds to move in a day earlier. The U.S. Attorney Damian Williams says federal agents took him in based on a sealed indictment. All right, let's get into some other reports, because TMZ, they be in whatever, right? Let's see. Now, there are a bunch of videos of Diddy out acting stupid. Again, I want to say this, and I will not stop saying this. Why is Diddy's attorney basically saying the uplift the Black community? This was a shame. Hold on a second. Okay, now Diddy's attorney is getting ahead of something. What could have possibly made them change that? Diddy's lawyer is hitting every major news outlet with that statement. They also gave a statement on CNN. They're definitely trying to get ahead of something. They are asking that we please refrain from passing judgment. Let's get into the thing. Wow. Hold on. We're not doing this one. Okay, so let's get the statement from Diddy's attorney. Let's go to the Hollywood Reporter. No New York Times. We're not paying for this mess. Okay, here it is. You guys have to hear this, and I have to read it from beginning to end because Diddy's attorneys 100% tried it. And when I say they tried it, they tried it. We're disappointed with the decision to pursue what we believe is an unjust prosecution of Diddy by the U.S. Attorney's Office. Sean Diddy Combs is a music icon. How come they didn't use Brother Love? How come they didn't say Sean Love Combs? Sean Diddy Combs is a music icon, a self-made entrepreneur, a loving family man, and a proven philanthropist who has spent the last 30 years building an empire, adoring his children, and working to uplift the Black community. Yo, what? Don't bring the Black community into this. And this lets you know what the legal thing is. They're going to try to activate all the Grammys, all the this, all the that. He's an imperfect person, but he is not a criminal. Sir, he is 100% a criminal. You are a criminal defense attorney. What is he doing there if he's not a... Okay, let me stop being silly. To his credit, Mr. Combs has been nothing but cooperative with this investigation, and he voluntarily relocated to New York last week in anticipation of these charges. Please reserve your judgment until you have all the facts. These are the facts of an innocent man with nothing to hide, and he looks forward to clearing his name in court. So what y'all think? Put a 1 in the comments if you think that Diddy's actions, even moving to New York and making that whole thing about, yeah, it's all love, and the stuff. You know, actually, let me tell y'all what Diddy's been doing all week in New York besides acting unhinged. But let's not forget, these are the acts, right? These are the acts of an innocent man, an innocent man and an innocent person who has absolutely nothing at all to hide. Diddy's lawyer, what y'all think about this? Do you think that the Black community is going to wrap around him? Like I said before, I got distracted. Kelly Price, we have more reports and I have some more tea, but I don't want to get this out of my head, so I have to talk about it. Kelly Price literally tried to do that whole, we going to save him and we going to pray. It's for God. We were like, cut it, Kelly, knock it off. Cut it out. We don't want you speaking on anything on God. Hold on really quick, y'all. Hello? Hey, I'm on live. I'm on live. Sorry, guys. 1 second. Yeah. This name is rapping. All right, listen, no, I am on live. Text me if you got some tea, but let me get back to, All right. All right, bye. Anyway, sorry, y'all. Listen, I reached out before I came on live. I reached out to every source I had and said, just give me my money. Literally, I reached out to every source I had and said, please, 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 let me know, let me know. But again, Kelly Price tried to get in there and do 3 things. Black women, the church, a Black man. I've seen your soul. Tell me about Kelly Price. First of all, Kelly, and I don't mean to be insulting because I'm not, right? Diddy was always fat shaming the women around him and being cruel about it. Diddy was a fat shamer. Diddy was a fat shamer. Diddy was he was what he was, right? I find it very, very, very interesting. Let me turn my camera off for 1 second. I want to cue up some video. I find it very, very interesting that Kelly Price, someone that Diddy wouldn't look at, she's a beautiful woman, but Diddy was a very shallow, crazy person. Diddy wouldn't look at Kelly Price on her best day. So no offense, Kelly, but you would never be invited to the type of things that Diddy had jumping off. And Kelly's a beautiful woman, but Diddy is a monster. And baby, rejection is protection. But for her to work on a few songs with them and then be like, I know your soul. Kelly, if you don't go back into that church pew and like, shut up. Go make some peace with your family. How you know Diddy's soul, but you still at war with your family? Kelly, go somewhere. Literally, Kelly, go somewhere. We don't want to hear it. And I say that with respect. She's a gorgeous woman, beautiful. She got the face of an angel. She got the voice of an angel. But Kelly, if you don't stop out of here, you know Diddy's soul, but yet you sitting here letting your family go all to like, shut up, Kelly. Anyway, let me just share this stream really quick so y'all can see what's going on. Where's this thing? So this is what Diddy was actually doing all this week. This is the actions of an innocent man, if you will. Hold on, y'all. Listen.
Oh, that's crazy. I thought he saw him.
Listen, he's shaking hands. He's doing what he can with. He's shaking hands, kissing babies, paying off. I would think who he can, doing what he can. This is what Diddy's been doing all week in New York. Again, he's been on a goodbye tour. He's been on a hello tour. We don't know exactly what's going on. We do know that for whatever reason, Diddy is done. This is him also at the wash, literally soaking it all in. I guess he wanted his last few minutes of freedom. Whose little girl is that? Whose son is that actually? Hold on. I'm talking about whose little girl is that with Diddy. We need to start asking whose son is also that in the picture. Okay, so also really quick, hold on, y'all. Let's make sure we get charged up. Again, whose son and daughter is this in the picture with Diddy? Okay. Now, a few other things that we have seen and heard, right? The U.S. Attorney's Office put this statement out on Twitter. Okay. The Twitter said earlier this evening, federal agents arrested Sean Combs. They said based on a sealed indictment, we expect to move to unseal the indictment in the morning. Now, why does this mean so much? Well, for one, it lets us 100% know. It lets us 100% know that Diddy, something very, very bad happened. Diddy was not performing on his end that he was supposed to. All right. They said that Diddy was going to actually be turn himself in. It is saying that was not, it was supposed to happen Tuesday. Okay. It was supposed to happen Tuesday. It did not happen. All right. Why do we know Tuesday was the day? Because the feds were going to unseal the indictment also on Tuesday. And since that did not happen, because of something Diddy did, the feds swooped in, raided his hotel room, and literally took him in. I repeat, the feds swooped in, raided Diddy's hotel room, and actually took in Sean Diddy Combs. Now, again, they took this statement over Twitter. Okay. They released it. They put out a statement via Twitter. This just confirms that this was not the plan. Something happened tonight. I guess it was yesterday. It's getting into early morning that made them throw away their craftily crafted plans out of the window and arrest Diddy. Okay. Some people think that Diddy's team negotiated the fact that they were going to actually be negotiated his turn in. Other people say that's not what happened. This was a fly-by-the-night tweet. It is odd. Whatever the issue is, the fact that the Diddy stepped on the news cycle, baby, you know they are upset. You know they are mad. You know somebody got to pay about this. Somebody got to pay. Now, who that's going to be, I don't know. We're going to have to wait for that. But somebody is definitely going to have to pay for stepping on their news cycle. Now, let's see again. Where are we at? We need to keep this in. Again, let's not forget Kalina's statement from Dirty Money when she said, my name's Bennett. I'm not actually in it. TMZ tried to say that she was taken up for Diddy. Kalina was like, can you just please leave my name out of this? Because I really don't want to be a part of this at all. Hold on, y'all. She said, keep my name out of this. I don't want to be a part of this at all. hold on really quick. We having technical difficulties over here. If you don't mind. If you don't mind. Okay. Your girl is back. Sorry, guys, it's late. I didn't expect to be up this late doing anything, but when the good Lord sends you a blessing, all you do is take it. That's all you do when the good Lord takes it. Okay, so where are we at? Okay, let's go through all of the things. Oh, this is really quick. All right, this is about Diddy's reign of terror, and this is a little bit off the subject, but maybe this whole podcast been off the subject. So let's get into this. But we also thought it was really, really funny. Did you guys know TDE, TDE, Top Dog Entertainment Punch? Did y'all hear that he was on Tank and Jay Valentine's R&B Money podcast and told the story about the famous MTV VMAs after party club altercation during the time Kendrick Lamar dropped his verse on Control. Now, if you don't remember in Control, that's when Kendrick reminded us that he has the biggest ego. And he's called himself the King of New York, to which everybody was super, super mad about it, okay? But the thing to remember is, and this is how much Diddy was wilding out. And this is how much is in that indictment. I'm telling y'all, when that indictment come out, you're gonna be surprised a lot of things. But let me just play this little story for you. So y'all know exactly just how far this man goes and how deep it is. Let me just cue this up. This is TDE Punch telling the story. And keep in mind, this is, well, you can figure out the players. Listen.
It's gonna sound crazy with no names. There's a bunch of people involved. That y'all would know their names. I'm sure. All right, so
listen.
Man.
Hold on.
So the homie just did this song, right? Pissed the gang people off. Everybody was mad at it. So we when the song came out,
Kendrick did the song.
And he came back to the States. First place we stopped in was New York City.
Okay.
And the first thing we do is say, let's go to the club, because we wanted to check the temperature, see what everybody was on. Yeah. LA stuff. Yeah. Right down. Yeah. So we get to the club. So one of the homies approached us and talking about this particular record.
It was Diddy that
approached. Going back and forth. Oh, it's not personal. It's just this and that. It's cool. Whatever. It's like, we playing basketball. I'm gonna try to beat you. You trying to beat me, and we good after. Like, yeah, okay, cool. A friendly fade. Friendly fade, if you will. Another one of them always walk up. He a little drunk.
I'm sorry. It's Diddy.
Say, yeah, y'all need to let's go back and forth and keep it on wax or whatever. So the two dudes who approached, they get into a little back and forth, little argument with each other. With each other now. Okay. Because we didn't know is they had got an argument before we got there. So they was kind of continuing it. So okay, everything's settled and we go to the VIP. So
it's gonna get good.
In this VIP section is literally the front row of the Grammys. In this one section. Yeah. And it's four of us. We in there like we in there fans almost. Like, yo, that's yeah. So the homie that got into it with the other one, he's sitting 2 steps down from me on the couch. So it's somebody right here, I'm right here.
Just he's going somewhere with it.
So then they came back to him. The ones who got in the altercation earlier, he's like, yeah. And if you ever say what you said to me earlier, nigga, and he grabbed a bottle.
This is Diddy.
From the table.
Oh, damn it. Hold on. Have y'all figured out the players yet? Hold on.
It's gonna sound crazy with no name.
Let me pass for it.
Literally the front roll of the
Okay,
Grammys.
there we go.
In this one section.
Yeah.
And it's 4 of us. We in there like we in there fans almost. Like, yo, that's
Yeah.
so the homie that got into it with the other one, he's sitting 2 steps down from me on the couch. So somebody right here, I'm right here. The rest of us, and then so the nigga came back to him. The ones who got in the altercation earlier, he's like, yeah. And if you ever say what you said to me earlier, nigga, and he grabbed a bottle from the table because he got all of the alcohol changed. And he said, what you gonna do? Hit me on my head with a bottle? He's like, nah, I'm gonna break it on the table, I'm gonna cut your throat. It was like a movie.
Right.
Like, ooh. Let's get it right. Yeah. Intense. So the nigga standing on the ground, reached up and tried to grab dude by the neck.
Just give me a second.
So dude reached around and fired on him, and they both fell on the table, knocking all the drinks over. So all these celebrities just in this one spot. It's a scuffle now, huge scuffle. So it just sounds weird with no names. But another nigga came who was best friends with one of the super celebrities that was over there. He came and started beating up one of the niggas that was on the ground. So it's kind of clearing up, and he grabbed the nigga, put him close, and seen who it was. And this dude was signed to his homie. But he couldn't see, he didn't see, he had his glasses on.
Have y'all figured it out yet? So this is about Diddy that picked up the bottle. J. Cole is the one that was scrapping. And hold on.
So he mopped him. Looked like he felt so bad after the whole thing.
He was signed to him?
He was signed to this dude who was going at him, his partner.
His partner came and jumped in.
Because he thought they was going at his man.
Yeah.
So, whole scuffle breakdown, they get them out the club. A table was back, set up in like less than 60 seconds.
Like it never happened.
Like it never happened. But the ratio from celebrity to regular person was like 70-30 maybe. So every section was like full of celebrities.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Music people, movie people, whatever. I think it's like it never existed. But it's
Okay, so listen, that was his long drawn out way, but it was a good story. I'm saying that Diddy's reign has been going on for quite some time. The feds are aware of it. Now, some people say that Diddy is going to jail for life. Let's hope, let's pray. I know a lot of people that should be worried are these people in hip hop that were doing Diddy-like things, doing more Diddy-like things. They got their own cases for Diddy-like crimes. Baby, if Diddy going down, nobody cares how many secrets you hold, you are going down too. Now, what else is going on in this whole thing? Well, for one, okay, Diddy was actually in New York with his daughters, right? Now, they're trying to say that Diddy, here we go. This is with the whole family doing this, doing that, right? Everybody said that Diddy was in New York with his daughters. Does this look like the actions of a guilty man? He's the loving father, out of this, that, and the third. But at the end of the day, can we just all get it straight? Two things can't be true. You were seeing Chance into school at NYU. The whole family was up there with Chance at NYU. Everybody been posting, thinking things are good. No, but Diddy did not relocate to New York City to cooperate with the feds. He was there so he could play perfect father, but he was also looked like he was on a goodbye tour of New York. Again, Diddy knew for a while that this indictment was coming. You don't hire Mark Agnifilo and his wife when you think that this is just going to be a friendly fade. You do not. On top of that, you just heard TDE Punch testify on this podcast, or at least say on this podcast, how much mess Diddy has been into over the years. Let's also not forget Don's lawsuit, which we went over on live. Don's lawsuit had so much stuff in there, and it's amazing that most media outlets flipped over it. What did she talk about? She witnessed Diddy throw a whole pot of sizzling eggs that Cassie was cooking for them on her and throw the pan at her too, and then drag her up the stairs like it was a scene out of The Color Purple. Dawn was terrified, her glass smashing, all this stuff. Dawn tried to rush to help Cassie. She said Kalina grabbed her and said, no, that's their relationship. Stay out of it. That's their relationship. She heard pandemonium and commotion. She said that Kalina and Dawn thought that Diddy was going to murk Cassie and said, girl, if you don't leave, we really think something's going to happen to you. They encouraged her to leave. When they encouraged her to leave, Diddy found out about it. They fled to their hotel rooms. Mind you, Diddy wasn't letting them leave the place at all. He was taking, he was up, taking whatever he was on, up for days. He made them go 48 hours without even resting, practicing, telling them, you're fat, you need to do this, you need to do that. Diddy was maniacal. Oddly enough, a lot of stuff she said happened sounded a lot like Little Rod's lawsuit. Anyway, they fled because they're like, oh my God. And she said the whole night she couldn't sleep because she was like, what is going on with Cassie? Diddy then called her and Kalina to come back to his LA compound, the one that got raided. She said when she got there, it was something unhinged like Silence of the Lambs. Diddy told them to come into the studio. They went into the studio, right? Diddy handed them both a bouquet of flowers, huge bouquet, bigger than they've ever seen. How do we know this is probably true? Because Jennifer Lopez always said whenever Diddy messed up, he would get some giant like Amazonian rainforest roses and a huge bouquet of flowers, okay? Diddy went, and this is what's happening, I think, back in 2006, 2007, maybe 2008, right? A huge bouquet of flowers. Then went, okay, and sat down. When they came in, handed them the flowers, turned the lights down in the studio almost to black, then sat down and told them, you need to mind your effing business. Don't worry about what go on between me and my... Oh, he also locked the door. So let me get this straight. He tells him to go into the studio. Immediately upon going in the studio, he locks the door, right? The lights are low. It's almost dark. He hands them a bouquet of flowers, sits them down, and then tells them, because she thought that, like, the first time she's seen violence, he was going to apologize, be apologetic. He literally told them, don't worry about what's going on between me and my B. You don't worry. That's what love looks like. That's what love is. You need to just ignore that. And then said, yo, you got a lot to lose. I can make you disappear. Y'all need to keep your mouth shut. Don't worry about what happened between me and Cassie. Just make this effing money and keep your effing mouth shut. Diddy said that to Dawn. Now, Kalina's sitting at their own Twitter talking about some recollections may vary. Girl, does Cassie's recollection vary? Because if Cassie testifies that some green eggs and ham and some grease got splattered on her, again, Cassie has been through hell. Let's also not forget the way Dawn witnessed Diddy treating his assistant. Now, we do not know the name of that assistant. Some people say that the assistant might actually be, well, I don't want to put anybody's name in there. But at that time, this is around the time that Capricorn Clark was Diddy's assistant. We're not implying that this is the same assistant, but it's around that era, right? She said that Dawn said that she witnessed Diddy brutally assault Kim running out of the studio looking like she had been brutally assaulted, and then she had to go in there to work. Let's also not forget, okay, this is also very, very important, that Dawn said that Diddy, they were overseas in like some Eastern European country, or maybe it was Glasgow, right? They were overseas in Glasgow. Where's that? In Scotland, Ireland? Anyway, they were overseas in Glasgow, I believe. Somewhere overseas. Kalina was sitting by the pool. Diddy's assistant was sitting by the pool too. Something was going on with Diddy's assistant. All of a sudden, Diddy and his friends started running a train on his assistant right in front of Dawn. Dawn got scared. She fled. She pushed the furniture in her hotel room up against the door because she was afraid somebody was going to come in and do something to her. She said the next day, Diddy acted like nothing was wrong. They had to get on the private flight. Dawn was like, yo, where's your assistant? Like, what happened with that? What was going on? Diddy then said, F that. Diddy said, F that B, right? Don't worry about her. F that B. She found out that that same assistant that Diddy and his friends had ran a train on, according to Dawn. Diddy, the next morning, I don't know, the assistant complained. I don't know what happened. Diddy had taken that woman's passport on the private plane and left her stranded in Glasgow. And when Dawn was like, yo, like, what's going on? He said, don't worry about it. F that B, and left her stranded with no money and no passport in a foreign country while he got on a plane, and he did it on purpose. Diddy is maniacal. When you're wondering how come Dawn didn't say anything, how come Kalina don't want to say anything, how come Cassie didn't say anything, how come Little Rod didn't say anything? Remember how Little Rod said that he was asleep in the studio or trying to take a little nap in the studio when he loved studios and Chalice Records, when somebody that he called G got bang in the leg. He was covered in blood, had to carry that man to the ambulance, was covered in blood. The police never even questioned him, didn't do anything. How's that happening? Because also in Dawn's lawsuit, she went out of her way to say that when the freak-offs were happening, she saw women busted. She said young women and who she believed to be girls. A lot of them looked underage. They were bussed in. They were all given drinks. She witnessed many of them being so inebriated to the point of being unconscious. Diddy and his crew were engaging in sexual activity with these women while they were passed completely out. She was freaked out. She will run to her room and move the furniture in front of it so nobody could come in and try to slip her something, give her something, or do something to her. I know a lot of people are like, well, why she stay? How come she ain't do anything? One of the interesting tidbits she actually put in there was the fact that, you know who was that? You know who security was for that? Do you know who he had at his parties? Police officers. Police officers he had hired as security, police officers out front, police officers in the party. Diddy had to connect, according to Dawn, to the actual police. And when she saw the fact that he was running amok, kicking people's doors, doing this, doing that, and then the police who are there to protect and serve were working at his parties, were outside running security, and were there at it. Now, oddly enough, this is what I want to bring in because I thought I should say this. Remember when I did that live about Jonathan Adi and the way that is the man that said that Diddy and Cassie hired him for free calls, right? And this was in a 2016 or 18 police interrogation interview. Now, here's the thing, right? A lot of people missed the biggest thing. Even though it was a 2016 or 18 police, because he had gone in and shot up the Trump's hotel, right? This is important. He had, hold on, y'all. Okay, so he had, where was I? Oh, talking trash. Okay. He had the police doing all this stuff. Now, why is that important? Jonathan Adi had testified in a police interrogation interview. We were the first people to break that on YouTube. It was either 2016 or 2018. He had testified. What a lot of people missed was he wasn't talking about things that had happened recently. He was talking about things that had happened in 2012. What were those things that he was talking about? Well, I'll tell you. He said that, what was it? He said that Cassie and Diddy had run trains. Diddy was always out of his mind. They were this and that. He conducted business. He described in 2012 the freak-offs that Cassie would describe in her lawsuit. Now, some people said, oh, Cassie just copied from Jonathan Adi. Cassie was not looking at that, and not even that. Diddy thought she was telling the truth because, or something happened because Diddy actually settled with Cassie in record time. Now, why is Jonathan Adi so important? Well, why we have to think about the lore of Jonathan Adi and what's going on. A lot of people, including myself, actually think Jonathan Adi is in witness protection. Now, just let me cook. I know what y'all saying. Tisa, you doing too much. No, I am not doing enough, because a lot of people think that Jonathan Adi is actually like a federal informant now. Why is that? Because I'll tell you, Jonathan Adi, he was arrested for going into with a bang into the Trump, one of the hotels, Doral or whatever, down in Florida. Part of that, Jonathan Adi had been a very peace-loving man, but here's the thing: he had a secret life. He worked as an escort for the Dancing Bear. The Dancing Bear was a site. It was this. It was that. But it was also a favorite of that same Florida Police Department. See, here's the thing. The police in that town actually got in trouble because the police chief had an account at Dancing Bear. How do we know? Because he used his work email to set up an account at the Dancing Bear, which was a corn star escort service that only had men servicing them. Okay. He set up an account with and no, he wasn't doing a sting operation. He set up an account, his burner account, using his work email with the Dancing Bear. I believe 15 or 16 officers in that thing were also frequent people and clients of the Dancing Bear, where Jonathan Adi worked at. Now, what's the connection? Diddy had police in his pocket. Diddy liked to have freak-offs. Police were present at the freak-offs. But you know what? It gets even deeper, because when Jonathan Adi was arrested, when you just read the headlines, it sounded like he went into the hotel and was like, No, that's not what happened. He went into the hotel. He pulled the fire alarm so all the civilians would leave. He then calmly walked over to the front desk people and told them to call 911 to bring the police there. He then held up his firearm and was like, boom, 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 and told the front desk people and everybody out to get the F out of the hotel. He was not trying to hurt civilians or anybody that works there. How do we know this? Because I did a whole video about this, so I'm giving you guys a recap. How do we know this? Because the police chief, I'm sorry, not the police chief, but the head of communications and the police chief actually did a press conference when they said, we do not believe he was targeting civilians. He was targeting police officers, because when he came in, when the police came in there, it was an ambush by Jonathan Adi. He waited till all the innocent people were gone. He then took aim so that when the police came in, boom, 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 he started picking them off like flies. Now, why would he do that? Why would he have a grudge with the police? Well, maybe he had a grudge with his customers, because again, the police chief and 15 or 16 officers were also using the Dancing Bear, which is Jonathan Adi's thing. You want to hear something even more weird? Let's talk about the company, the Dancing Bear, that Jonathan Adi worked for. Within 2 calendar years, it was either 4 or 5 of Jonathan's coworkers, including him, had gotten arrested for either attempted murking or murking. That's a really, 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 really high incidence for murderers that all work at, attempted murderers or wannabe murderers to all work at the same company. So let's do a recap, shall we? Jonathan Adi predicted everything that was going to happen in 2012. Oddly enough, he put in Rick Ross's and DJ Khaled's name. He said they were all gay, right? Ain't nothing wrong with that. But he said they were all gay, and he said that was part of the hip hop agenda, where they were moving weight, liquid coca and all this stuff in Ciroc bottles. He also said Diddy and Cassie hired him to have freak-offs. He also said about everything that Diddy Combs was into. He said the police was there and was in it and everything. He then got into that shootout, not with regular people, but with police officers, with his customers. Diddy was big down in Florida. They were having freak offs back down in Florida. Some of the people that work for the police department were having freak offs also. They were Jonathan Avi's customers. It makes what you think. The way I think about it, when I think about Dawn's complaint, the way she said that she felt helpless and cornered because the police were in on it. The police looked the other way, or at least Diddy led them to believe, and the police officers there saw what was going on in Sodom and Gomorrah, and they did not care. Now, couple that with what Little Rod's lawsuit said. Little Rod's lawsuit said, again, that somebody got bang bang. Justin, Diddy, and that guy G all went into a bathroom together. Gunshots that woke up Little Rod, and only 2 walked out. Justin and Diddy, Little Rod, went into the bathroom, saw him bleeding out. It looked like he had gotten banged in his hip and his leg. He was gushing everywhere. Nobody did everything. He was screaming, call an ambulance, and then he had to pick him up and run him to the ambulance. It looked like a murder. He was covered head to toe in it. The police saw it, ain't say nothing, ain't question anybody. As a matter of fact, Chalice Studio tried to say that happened 3 blocks away. The only thing is, if you've ever been in Chalice Studios, you would know in Los Angeles, they have security upon security upon security. You have to be buzzed into the gate. Then you have to walk through a parking lot, and there is a woman sitting behind bulletproof glass. You have to state who you're there to see, what you're doing, what session you're in, what recording session, and then they call back to the studio. Tell them that they have tell them that you have a visitor. They then have to say, okay, let them through. They buzz you into the front door. You go into a holding area where they then check you out, and then you get buzzed into the main, and then you have to go back through all this stuff to find the studio. They're trying to say somebody that got shot in the leg and the stomach, hip, walked all that way, went there, got buzzed in, calmly walked back. No, that's not the way it happened. Again, the police are a common thing, which might be why Diddy was able to get away with this for so long, and why Homeland Security investigations had to actually step in. Let's not forget, you look at Harvey Weinstein and Jeffrey Epstein. People were reporting them all the time to the police, and people were complaining, but they had people on the inside. They had DAs, they had police officers that looked the other way. Jeffrey Epstein was kind of rolling in the same area Diddy was. I'm not saying that they were, playing patty cake together. I am just saying that it was an area where police were corrupted. Do you see how this could all come together, and how in the indictment this could actually be something really, really big? I'm just saying. Also, I just want to say that the New York Times has the exact name of the hotel he's staying at and got taken into custody at, and the exact time. So this confirms that he didn't actually turn himself in. Like we first said, the feds just popped up at his hotel room and arrested him unexpectedly. Okay, this proves my sources right, that Diddy's hotel was raided and he was taken into custody. Okay, they had arranged for him to turn himself in Tuesday. Something happened when they said, oh, no, we're moving him. I do believe that something happened is either Diddy was a flight risk, or they found out that he was engaged in some type of criminal activity, and that made the deal for him to turn himself in. It made the deal go bye-bye. Okay, let's also not forget this, right? The Southern District of New York said in a statement posted on social media late Monday that we expect to move to unseal the indictment in the morning, and we'll have to say more to say at that time. Now, Diddy's lawyer said Diddy had been arrested by officers with Homeland Security investigations at about 8:30 p.m. at the hotel where he was staying, the Park Hyatt New York on 57th Street. It's expected he'll be held overnight and arraigned on Tuesday. This makes him the highest profile figure in the music world to face criminal charges for sexual misconduct since R. Kelly, the R&B singer who, after trials in New York and Chicago, was sentenced to more than 30 years in prison for I can't even say half of this. Anyway, almost everything that Diddy's been accused of, R. Kelly is serving 30 years, and R. Kelly wasn't doing money laundering. Let's see, there's more. Okay. This is also proves that this turning over was not planned. Like we first said, they saw something and they moved in and basically raided the Park Hyatt. Oh, how times have changed. Diddy staying at the Park Hyatt? Baby, before this, Diddy would have been staying at the Plaza doing what it do. It looks like times are tough for everybody, including Diddy. Okay, so what else do we know? Okay. What else do we know? Okay. At the end of the day, where are we at? Oh, that's what it is. What proof do I also have that my sources were right and this wasn't planned and they raided his hotel room because they found out that he was doing something? I think it might have been what he's doing in with his friends. Well, they have him in a midtown holding cell. He's not going to be arraigned till tomorrow. He's in a midtown holding cell. If this is gone on plan with him being actually taken into custody, he would be in the Southern District of New York's holding cells. If you guys don't know, the Southern District of New York actually has a jail underneath the federal courthouse. Most federal courthouses do tunnels and jails. Now, it's not a huge jail, but it's a big jail, right? He would be in custody in the Southern District of New York. Again, this was unexpected. Diddy didn't say this. What did we say? Diddy was in town, kissing babies, smacking hands, doing whatever. One could argue that while Diddy was doing all this, one could actually argue that he was trying to hide evidence. He was trying to make sure people didn't talk. He was basically doing things to make sure. Remember when he said, yeah, it's all love. Remember he had his friend trying to act like we're stupid, talking about I punched people in the face for this, or this and that. Listen, maybe his friend's a comedian, like Uncle Gene said, maybe that, but that's not the point. Everybody's missing the point. Diddy was still trying to send a message to everybody. And they used that comedian to send it. So they could say to the feds, it was just a joke, calm down. And the feds were like, calm down. You want me to calm down? No, sir. You calm down. Again, it could be witness intimidation. It could be the fact that he was actually trying to conceal evidence. It could be the fact that he was doing more. Hold on, let me just drop down real quick. It could be the fact that he was doing something where he thought he could stay one step ahead from the feds. It could honestly, sorry guys, it could honestly be technical difficulties. It could honestly be all that stuff. Hold on really quick. Let me just turn this off. It could honestly be all that stuff. But what is it? Again, everything's starting to come into focus. We got the Jonathan Oddie stuff. We got the Dawn stuff. We got the thing with Dawn saying that there were police actually participating. This explains why the feds had to get involved. Again, Harvey Weinstein, Jeffrey Epstein. Y'all want to talk about, oh, it's only about black men. Baby, the white people just had their summer. Shout out to the white title tells. They just had their summer of reckoning. It's our turn now, okay? Rid the community. I don't care. Get them all out of here. A monster that looked like me, you still a monster. Baby, no, I don't care if I don't speak for the whole black community. I'm going to act like I do. Get them mofos out of here. We don't want to hear anything else, right? Listen, another reason that we knew that, this was going to go down, right? And that this wasn't expected. And Diddy thought he was being smarter than he has. Where's his bottom B? I ain't talking about Young Miami. Young Miami is out there shaking a tail feather, doing her thing at JT's concert. Where's Stevie? Where's Stevie J? That's what I am effing want to know. Where the F is Stevie J? We should have known something was up. As Stevie J is probably home earning Diddy's sheets. Literally probably got Faith Evans. Soon as I get home, she got some Faith playing in the background, bumping that mess, just waiting for his man to return. Stevie, you're going to have to find a new job. You need to learn from Young Miami. Being a kept woman does not go far, you need to go and see if you can start your own podcast talking about the making of a chipmunk. You need to do something. Listen. Oh, JB said Stevie was driving on the highway 3 hours ago playing Cherish the Day. Woo! Cherish the day. Won't go away. You thought your man was going to be home. Lickety split. And now you got to go put your name on a waiting list. So let's also not forget that Diddy just had that $100 million settlement with that inmate. Now, here's the thing. Diddy's lawyers are appealing it, of course, because that settlement happened without prejudice. But the one thing that everybody keeps overlooking, which his lawyers never said that he was lying about and never said it was fraud, the man says that he has it on a prison visiting list, that Diddy came to visit him while he was in jail. And this man claims that Diddy offered him $2.7 million to quiet everything up. Now, did he offer him 2.7? I don't know, but can somebody tell me what Sean Diddy Combs is doing, going to visit a man in jail that all his claims are wrong? Why would Diddy do that? Not Diddy's lawyers, but him. And if you guys don't know, when you go to jail, I actually check. You can't just pop up like you doing a walk-in. You need to be on the visitors list. They need to give you permission to come. You can't just pop up. So we got to ask ourselves, what was Diddy doing with that? Y'all, listen. Stevie J, 3 hours ago, cherish the day, won't go away. That's right. You better stand by your man. You know you down bad. Or in the very loving space, if you listen to the Sade, cherish the day, that's a sad song. I feel like now Stevie probably walking around that mansion in an Amazon two-piece. What do you think he listening to? The king, the queen of sorrows. Wait. I'm crying everyone's tears. If you guys now have not heard the King of Sorrows by Sade, don't listen to it while you're sad. You're going to be just crying tears for your own life. He's crying everybody's tears. And there inside, when he cries, the more he dies the night before. Woo! He feels like he's the king of sorrows, y'all. Literally. Okay, so let's get into this also. Get this. Agents from the U.S. Department of Homeland Security descended on the Midtown Manhattan hotel where Diddy had located, and he had braced himself to be arrested. The music icon and entrepreneur was taken into custody at his luxury digs and taken to a nearby FBI field office. The authorities also conducted searches. Hold on, guys. What is going on? So anyway, where are we at? Let's not forget that Biggie stuff. So anyway, let me get back to hold on a second. I got more news in. Let's just get into this 1 second. One second. Okay, so here we go. So anyway, they are saying that Diddy went to that hotel and he braced himself to be arrested. Again, he didn't brace himself. He was supposed to turn himself in on Tuesday. All right. Where are we going also? Did I get food again? How did y'all know? Who said, Tisa, did you get food again? Noelle, you know me so well. You know me better than I know myself. Yeah, I had a delivery. Anyway, let's get back into this, right? They said that they conducted searches of his hotel room as part of the operation. Diddy had a suite. I will say this, those poor girls, they literally had to be in, they literally Because think about this. This is the part about Diddy that makes me sick. And they're talking like he's a loving father and this and that. Diddy knew 100% for a fact that he was going to get arrested, and they knew he was negotiating. He literally had them in the middle of all this because he dragged them to New York to be a part of his PR. I'm sure the feds looked through their rooms they were staying into, and they should have, because at this point, and here's the thing, maybe the twins did it willingly because they 100% wanted to be there in the last moments with their dad, but Diddy didn't even have to have them staying at the same hotel he was. Diddy could have literally put them in other locations. Again, as much as they say he's an evolved father, you guys, give up this dream. The monster was not a monster to everybody. Monsters don't grape and drug other people's sons and daughters, and then they're the best daughters, the best fathers to their kids. Now, I'm not saying Diddy did any of that sick stuff to his own kids. I am saying that somebody that, to me, if this can be believed, is that sick in the head, even though you might not get it this way, you're still around that kind of sickness and topsy-turvy. This is going to color the people they meet, the interactions they have, the way they see life. And let's not even forget, in the video, in the the live I did with Little Rod, go ahead and check it out, it's really good. Let's also not forget, in the live I did, Little Rod said Diddy would get jealous if there was a woman around him that even looked at his sons. He would flip out sometimes in the middle of the day and literally be like, yeah, whatever, and lock everybody out of the house. Him, his workers, his kids, and had them standing outside for hours, not doing anything, just waiting for him to calm down and let people in. If you think that his kids did not feel that wrath, I don't know what to tell y'all. Anyway, right? Getting back into this, right? Listen, Loading on Twitter said, I bet so many people are calling their lawyers tonight. Sovereign on Twitter said, every time P. Diddy's doppelganger son defends his father, he either get raided, sued, or arrested. Shout out to Christian Combs for taking your daddy down. For he put out the struggle rap. We got the Cassie video. He did this every single time those kids, especially King Combs, defend Diddy. They go hard. I guess they don't like it, right? Young Miami out here tweeting, I love Houston. Listen. And they said, I had to double it, right? Young Miami logged into Twitter. Diddy's going down. The whole world is going live, all this stuff. She logged into Twitter and tweeted something random because she wanted to let everybody know she ain't in custody and she ain't by Diddy's side. Baby, hold on to your freedom. I hope Young Miami sings like a canary. I will say this, right? The same way we got to hold space for Cassie, even though Young Miami is like, he made me feel like a woman. We got to hold space for her too, because 10 years ago, if you had asked Cassie about Diddy, she would have defended him too. I think everybody around Diddy is a victim, even down to his kids, right? Listen, a few people are saying that his sons may have been taken into custody. I don't see that either. I don't see that anywhere. So we're going to leave off of that. I mean, here's the thing. I don't know if Christian would be taken into custody because Christian wasn't involved with Diddy's business as far as we know. However, Justin was very, very involved in Diddy's business. See, let me tell y'all a little tale, right? Just sit right there. Let me tell you how I came to okay, anyway, I'll stop being cute. It's too late. I can't even remember the lyrics. So here's the thing. We do not know if any of Diddy's sons were taken into custody. We are waiting just like everyone else. Some things people tell me, some things people don't. I have a few other things to say, but I want to get through this, right? Christian was like a Nepo baby to his heart. Struggle rap, Nepo baby, this, that, and the third. Fine. However, Justin was heavily involved in Diddy's businesses. Not only were businesses in his name, he was supposed to be CEO. He was training them. He was doing all this. Just follow me for a second. When Cheney, let me not put her name in it. Okay, I'm trying to move around there. The Booby Trap. The Booby Trap is a place that was mentioned in Little Rod's lawsuit. It is a place that, according to Little Rod, Diddy would send him with a bad boy hat on to go to the booby trap and get escorts. He wanted him to wear it, blank workers, to wear it so when he walked in, everybody knew, ooh, that's Diddy Star Island. They'd be like, ooh. He said Diddy paid them in cash apps, Venmos, whatever. It doesn't matter. They negotiated their fee. They came over and they partied. Diddy is very, very active in Atlanta. Justin handles a lot of Diddy's business in Atlanta. There are people that say that when it comes to moving people, places, things, Justin was involved in the family business. And if Justin was involved in Diddy's business, which Diddy's trying to make it into a family business, then Justin actually has real things to be worried about. And I know if I was Misa, I would be praying right now. I would be praying right now that Justin, honestly doesn't get any indictment. Quab on Twitter said, Diddy being arrested on the same week that Tupac died 28 years ago. Look at God showing out. Let me tell y'all something. The feds don't make that many mistakes, and there's not that many coincidences when it comes to a fed. So I guess it will really turn into choose your own adventure. Now, Young Miami logged in. Also, I do want to say, since here's the thing I want to say, and this is the thing that we need to look out for. Since bringing Diddy in was obviously, like we first got reports of, was a very last minute decision. And since Diddy was supposed to turn himself in Tuesday and they were going to unseal the indictment, you got to ask yourself, who else is being arrested tomorrow or indicted unbeknownst to them? Who else is being arrested and or indicted unbeknownst to them? We really need to know. Hold on, guys. Hey guys, sorry about that. Okay. Sorry about that. I'm back. So, in any case, we have to wonder who else is being arrested or indicted unbeknownst to them. We really honestly need to know. Let me just go over my things. So again, people are also saying that Diddy is trying to negotiate a plea deal or work out a plea deal. People are saying Diddy feels like since nobody stood by him, he ain't standing by anybody either. Again, you can argue the only people he cares about is his kids, but I have to wonder if they offered a deal between you say Justin did it and you get to walk free, would Diddy actually say, no, it wasn't Justin, it was me? You have to wonder. We didn't get the perp walk. That's because they found out that Diddy was something involved in something bad, and they said you are a danger and you sent. So when the feds say that you can turn yourself in, that is a privilege. And you make a deal that I won't try to run, I won't leak this information, and I will not be involved with any criminal activity while this plea deal is not plea, but this agreement for me to turn myself in is. And if I violate any of this agreement, then you know what? If I violate this agreement, then you know what? It is what it is. And you guys can come get me. It looks like they actually came and got them. They're going to unseal the whole indictment Tuesday morning. Are you guys going to join me on live Tuesday morning? We are going to go through the whole indictment. Homeland Security swooped in, the plea deal. What else is going on? Hold on, I had a few other notes. What did I do with it? Hold on, y'all, really quick. But at the end of the day, okay, so again, Diddy's lawyers are dumbstruck. Yeah, they issued only statements. Stevie J, whoo, this is wild to me. This is wild to me. Again, at the end of the day, what y'all think? Let's go to the chat. Hold on, let me read some of these super chats. Sorry, y'all. Let me read these super chats. T. Evans, thank you so much for becoming a member. Dory Angel said, we can't hear you, Tisa girl. Thank you. M. Allen said, we can't hear you, girl, please. You know what? For now on every live, I'm just going to turn my mic off and see how much money y'all send me. But thank y'all. I really appreciate it. M. Allen, Marie said, we can't hear you. No audience, no audio. Sharitha Perron said, we can't hear you. Sorry, guys. Sleepy said, no sound. And Evan said, no sound. Katie Wall said, we can't hear you. Paul Harrison, what's up, Paul? Said, Tisa, your mic's muted. Natalie said, help, no sound. Natalie Miranda, speaker for the Purple Count, said, no sound. Byron G, thank you so much for coming, remember. Y'all, thank you for always putting up with me and writing out with me. Predictions for the thing. Bono will definitely be Bono will definitely be reuniting with U2, performing with U2. Sting will be getting his royalties, and Diddy will be facing charges that we have never seen before. Again, if I was a Diddy associate, I would be on the phone with my lawyer. This indictment's coming down. Diddy is not the only one. He didn't do this on his own. There's a lot of people scared and scrambling right now. The smart ones weren't on Twitter, YouTube, or even in the media listening to like googly-eyed wannabe court reporters talking about there's no evidence, blah, 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 blah. You know, that's one thing I do want to say about this. It's good to have measured responses. It always is. You know, y'all know I'm dramatic. If you want measured response, go somewhere else. But I will say that a lot of people, that whole personality is being court reporters, being intelligent, being this. A lot of people whose whole personality is because they can't say they're cute. They can't say that they're that talented. They can't say. A lot of people's whole, and I'm not subbing anyone. I'm being serious, right? They literally go into like, you're smarter than everybody else. Cool. Maybe you are. I don't know. But when you see things happening, when you see a federal raid on someone's property, you cannot be so committed to being right and my identity is being the smartest person in the world, because that's the only identity. You cannot hold on to some dream that it ain't what it is. Sometimes you don't need to be. Sometimes you can just look and be like, I just saw the feds use military grade tanks, 6 of them, to roll up on your place. Methinks you're going to jail. What proof do you have? The truth will come out. The truth is, I live in America. I know the American government. I know the way Homeland Security rolls. I know the way search warrants being executed roll. I know the way getting budgets for search warrants being executed roll. And I'm telling you, for them to roll up with full military tactical gear, 6 tanks, spending millions on a raid and carrying out, there ain't no way the feds are letting this man go. They had so much evidence that the judge said, all right, how much? Because you just can't go and be like, hey, Your Honor, I want $1 million or $2 million on a raid. They're going to be like, why do you need this much money? No, you do it for like a shoestring budget like everyone else. You have to show proof on why that display of force is needed. And you need something more than what Sean Diddy Combs. We want to make a splash. You need something more than that. because they're not going to even give you the budget. And the thing is, there were so many people that literally were like, oh no, let's just wait for the truth to come out. I've been in contact with Diddy's team. Diddy's team is lying to you. Why would you? Their whole sole goal is to put out positive PR and to try to convince us that what we see happening isn't happening, to try to convince us that it was all a big mistake, that the feds were harassing, that Diddy's an innocent angel. Why the F would you? I talked to Diddy's team and they told me, dummy. That's like saying, excuse me, I talked to the Fox and he said the Tin House is fine. At what point are people going? And this is a problem that I see everywhere. Of course, don't jump to conclusions. I am entertainment, right? Of course, I'm going to be with my stuff. It's my natural personality. But at what point are the people that we expect to give measured, unbiased reporting, either on Twitter or anywhere, at what point are they? And again, a lot of people did great work. I'm not talking about anybody specifically. Okay, don't start some stuff about me subbing people. But at what point are the people that we're supposed to trust to bring us fair, unbiased news? At what point were they willing to step outside of their own ego? Because everybody on social media was like, yo, walk like a duck, quack like a duck. I think it's a duck, but they want it because for some reason they feel like they're above like the average person. And because the average person was like, yo, I think that man's going down, they went further left to be like, we have to wait for the evidence. My sources tell me I've talked to Diddy's people. Dummy, did you talk to Diddy's people before his ass got packed up and sent up the Midtown lockup before he dummy, did they talk to you about that? Again, this is what I mean. Trusted news sources are important and news sources do a great thing, but it's this weird thing where their egos get involved. And if the average person is like, I think he's about to get arrested, they want to go the other way because they want to feel like they're above and they know something more, to the point of even misleading the public or not just being clear, stating, no, it's my ego involved. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, let's get back into this. Belle Louise said, go, Tisa and Tattletales. Auntie Penelope says, hello, who's here for the breaking news? About time, right? I thought today was never going to happen. I hear you, Auntie, but I thought it was going to happen. Live from New York City. Thank you so much. Said Diddy about to snitch on everybody like Nino Brown from New Jack City. If I'm going down, I'm taking a whole lot of people with me. You know he is. My sources are telling me, even though take it with a grain of salt, right? I don't believe in doing measured around here. This is entertainment. That Diddy is actively, again, I don't think, and this is my opinion based on information and belief, that Diddy is going to sacrifice himself for anyone. I would even say that. Listen, hold on really quick. 1 second. I would even say that. Also, White the Cox, thank you so much for being a member. Angeline Alexandra said, God is cleaning out Hollywood. Tisa was right about Diddy's arrest this month. Great job. Oh, thank you, Angeline. They call me a liar, but look who's lying now. Anyway, Pink and V. Thank you, Pink and V, for becoming a new member. Corey Irvine, thank you so much for the super sticker. Larry said, so many indictments will come from this, baby. It's going to be unsealed tomorrow. Diddy is going to start playing ball and telling on whoever he can. Larry also said, all I care about is justice for Tupac. Angelica Vasquez said, Tisa, Mark Agnifilo's wife is Karen Friedman Agnifilo, co-host with Ben Masalis. Ben Masalis, if you guys don't know, is Diddy's was good friend. He was an intern at Bad Boy. His dad was Diddy's lawyer for 20 years. I'll tell you what, even though these people saying, well, we're going to have to wait for new information. I know it was a wrap for Diddy where his law firm of 20 years dropped him, then blamed Lady Gaga for Diddy being dropped from the law firm. Lady Gaga came out and said, don't put that mess on me. I didn't say 2 words about Diddy. And they came out and said, yes. It wasn't Lady Gaga. We're literally cutting ties with them. I am firing my client of 20 years, who is my son's best friend. He comes on vacations with us. We spend time at each other's house. I'm firing them. We are firing our client because of those federal raids. I knew it was a wrap then. I said, y'all can try to mumble, jumble, intellectualize this all you want. We see what it is. We see what it is, right? The weird thing is, I feel like so many people that consider themselves authoritative, we're going to have to wait for the things. I honestly feel like they were praying for Diddy to get off just so they could tell all us, you guys were stupid. See, it didn't happen. We were right. I'm just saying. Thank you so much, Angeline, for that, Angelica, for that connection. Goddess said, send Tisa her flowers. Thank you so much, Goddess. Black Nefertiti, thank you so much for joining. Mr. Crop, thank you so much for joining. Lori, aka Lola, Indika, thank you for becoming a member. Let me say this also. Y'all, can you do me a favor? Hit that like button, hit that subscribe. Listen, it's gonna be a busy week. Y'all know when it's time to grind, you're gonna see me up here 24 hours a day. Go hear what everybody else is talking about. Get your fill, but make sure you come back here for seconds, and you know I'm gonna be serving all the sides and desserts. We are going to break this mug down. Bum, bum, bum. We're gonna have Natania, Tiffany, Red up in this piece. We again, Little Rod, the latest and greatest of all Diddy's current accusers, will be speaking on this to the best of their ability. And I promise you one thing, if y'all show me love, I'll show you love too. You're going to see me in court with a 30-inch platinum bust down. That's going to be, I'm going to come in like city girls coming into court. I'm going to have a Cardi B blonde bob. You know, every time Cardi B got to go to court, she come in with a mean bob going on. I know that's right. I know that's right. Okay, listen. Dog Mom said the Combs twins just posted a pic of them with Kim. You know, I actually do feel really, really, really sorry for those kids. They lost their mom. They dealing with that dad of theirs. And no lie, let's be real. They are dealing with that dad of theirs. But who knows what they saw them actually take their mom through? Who knows what they actually went through? Who knows what hand imagine what hand their dad actually played in their mom's misery. At this point, everything's on the table. At this point, everything is on the table. Who really knows about anything that's going on? I feel so sad for those kids. And you posted a picture of them with their mom. I know they miss their mom right now so much. I know they wish their mom was there to help guide them through. Again, I don't care what anybody says. Diddy, you don't treat somebody else's sons and daughters like that, and then you go home and you're the perfect father, even nature, giving them pep talks, letting them see, helping them develop emotionally and mentally. It just don't happen. That mess is for the movies. Hold on really quick. I'm gonna see if we can actually get Natania up here to actually talk about the way she feels about all this going down. Aubrey has responded, by the way. Aubrey responded. Aubrey O'Day from Dana OK has tweeted. Dana Kane. She said, the purpose of justice is to provide an ending and allow us the space to create a new chapter. Women never get this. I feel validated. Today is a win for women all over the world, not just me. Things are finally changing. And you know what? Thank you so much, Valerie Renee, for sending me this. Things are finally changing. Things are finally changing. I feel like, honestly, this is just the beginning. I feel like because Diddy is such a monster, that he's going to bring everything down with him. And I hope he does. And I hope everybody that supported Diddy, everybody that gave him the benefit of the doubt, everybody that asked why he needs better black men, I hope y'all feel stupid. I hope y'all, not y'all, talking to the people in the back, move your heads so I can talk. I hope y'all move your heads. I'm talking to the people in the back. I hope they feel stupid. I hope they feel dumb. I hope they honestly feel like everything's just falling apart. Really quick, Shirley Castle, thank you for becoming a member. Trina Lewis, thank you so much for the super chat. We got Ida Serrano saying, hey, Tisa, love that you bring the information. You always bring the truth. Thank you. Thank you, Ida. The Kiwi Click, thank you so much, right? You said, thank you, Tisa. I don't care if they look like me. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. We related by blood. There's certain things that shall not pass either on heaven, hell, or on this earth. It don't matter. It don't matter. Dog Mom Laura, thank you so much for becoming a member. And Dog Mom Laura said, I'm so happy I joined your podcast. Oh, thank you. Mel. Thank you, Dog Mom Laura. Mel Bethel said, TT, wow, finally, this crazy man is finally being held accountable for his disgusting behavior. I just happened to be up late and voila, you were live. So I knew something was up. Great work. Thank you, Mel. Dog Mom, thank you so much. You said the best podcast on YouTube. Thank you so much, Dog Mom. YM Droid, thank you so much for being a member. Well, you rejoined. You've been rocking with me for a minute. You said if his lawyers didn't see this coming, they may not be that good. Don't tell me Diddy is already down to the public defender office. No. Like I said, his lawyers saw it coming. They negotiated a surrender on Tuesday. He was supposed to surrender on Tuesday. At the end of the day, they found something. I think that he was either a flight risk or they found out he was still involved in some type of witness intimidation, some type of criminal activity. And that's when they got the okay to go ahead and not just arrest him, but to raid all his rooms. And he had his girls in the middle of that. Mel Bethel said, heck yes, I'm joining you in the AM. Oh, y'all gonna be riding out with me? Andre Noble, this is gonna be a heavy upload week, a heavy live week. I might just live stream all 5 hours tomorrow. Andre Noble said, new here, great show. Diddy going to snitch. You know Diddy's going to snitch, but that's the thing with snitching, Andre. I feel you. Diddy is going to snitch, but that's the thing with snitching. See, the feds give you a time limit to snitch. And when you snitch, you have to know things that they can't know. You have to give them something they didn't have. Like, you can't, it's like if you, like, let's just say like your boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever is cheating on you, right? And you like, tell me everything you know now, and maybe we can move past this. Now, I know we ain't moving past this. I'm just talking shit because I want to know, was all my research and investigation right? I ain't gonna move past this. I ain't. But what I'm saying is, tell me what you know now, and I won't choose violence. Just tell me what you know, right? We can do this the easy way. I can rip you. We can do this the easy way, or your whole life can be ripped apart, right? Saw style. And you give the person an opportunity to be honest with you, right? And they don't. And you're lying, and you're like, okay, I choose violence, not actual physical violence, but I'm gonna like rip your life apart. This is younger Tisa. Now, and I'm mature. I walk away, right? But that's the feds when they say, tell me what you know, we can move past this. They ain't gonna move past it, but it's not gonna be anywhere as bad. It's gonna be a soft landing. You're gonna lose a lot, but you're not gonna lose everything. It's gonna be a soft landing. Diddy right now is to the point of, you're saying they come back after you walked in on bed in bed with someone, and they come back and you walk in and they in bed with your mom, sister, brother, cousin, and 3 of the neighbors, right? It's just like a freak off going on. And you're just like, whatever. And they're like, wait. Let me tell you, I've been unfaithful. That's where Diddy is at. They made them go through a federal indictment. They made them rip up everywhere. Diddy's lawyers were in the paper every week talking trash about the feds, saying they were going to sue the feds. This is an abomination. They literally did all this mess, right? And now they want to come and try to make a plea deal. Not only that, they made them investigate. So unless Diddy is giving them someone bigger and evidence they didn't have, huge evidence to take down like the president that they didn't have to have before, Diddy ain't getting that plea deal. He can snitch all he wants. Too little, too late. Too little, too late. I just said that part. Bring them out. Bring them out. Lisa Rodriguez said, today is a good day, T said. Diddler is down. I was a court reporter for 10 years. We don't talk. We just record the trial and keep evidence and exhibits quietly. Lisa, shout out to the court reporters and shout out to Lisa Rodriguez. Mel Bethel said, a bunch of ninjas and ninjets are going to be dragged into court on subpoenas to testify. Big names, huge names. Let's see who I think it's going to be. I think Jay-Z will either have to testify or give a statement. I believe Beyonce. I believe Kevin Hart. I believe, who else hung tight with Diddy? Yeah, I believe Ashton Kutcher. I believe all these, Jennifer Lopez, maybe Ben Affleck, maybe if they can like wash the vodka. Well, I don't know if he's drinking again. The whole point of the matter is everybody that we saw Diddy rolling hard with will either be, and I mean the Kardashians. Kim, you all know Kim probably already made a statement, probably begging Jeff Bezos to buy her out of this one, out of this problem. The Kardashians will either have to give witness statements or actually testify. Diddy literally was the Oscar Wilde of his generation before we found out that he was actually the Hannibal Lecter. I believe so many people will either have to testify, will be questioned, so they'll either have to give sworn affidavits or they might actually be on the witness stand. We already know Cassie, right? Aubrey going to testify. Gene Deal testifying. Roger Bonds is going to testify. Again, we'll see if they actually get on the stand, but 100%. Who else? Dawn, of course. Kalina, maybe. I think Kalina might have to testify. That's why I think her little denial was. It wasn't saying Dawn was lying. It was basically saying that I've been truthful about what I wanted. It gave me the sense that the feds had questioned her. She told them A, B, and C. And when Dawn's thing came out, they were like, you told us A, B, and C. How come you ain't say anything about D, E, and F? You know what I'm saying? Y'all know what I'm saying. Kiss the Smooch said, explain what happens once they unseal the indictment. Okay, so once they unseal the indictment, you have your charges. So once you unseal the indictment, the scope of the investigation is revealed. The charges are 100% revealed. Oh, also, good point, Jamie. Jamie said Mace and Mr. Bentley. She said Mace and Mr. Bentley will probably have to testify or give sworn, hold on a second, sworn affidavits. We also have, hold on a second. We also have, they'll have to give sworn indictments. So here's the thing. Diddy's arrested right now and he's in custody. He doesn't know his charges. He just knows that there's a subpoena for the grand jury for criminal charges. He doesn't know the charges. He hasn't been arraigned. So once the grand jury is, once the indictment is unsealed, he goes, he will know the charges. His lawyers will know the charges. We'll also know any co-defendants, co-conspirators. We'll know the scope of the investigation. We'll know how long they've been working for it, and we'll know all the evidence they have within reason, the broad strokes. We'll also know that we'll also know Diddy will go in front of a judge and he'll be arraigned. At the arraignment, the judge will look over his charges. The prosecution will suggest whether they want him to have bail or not. And if they want him to have bail, what the bail amount will be. They'll make a recommendation to the judge. If the prosecution thinks he is a flight risk or he is a danger to society, they will request that there will be no bail. Okay. There will, once again, after the arraignment and this and that, there will be a separate bail hearing. If the prosecution is saying we think bail should be $100 million, so don't forget Diddy said he's a billionaire, then they'll argue, well, no, it shouldn't really be $100 million. If they say that he's a flight risk, they will argue about the flight risk. They'll also let you know, since it's federal court, Southern District of New York, usually in state court, all of the charges, we have Natania here. You guys say hi to Natania. I wanted her to join. Those of you guys that are new to the channel, Natania Rubin, unfortunately, but it's a blessing for us in disguise. I'm sorry to say that, but you have been such a blessing in my life. But unfortunately, Natania Rubin, she is the woman that Diddy when he was in the club with Jennifer Lopez and Shine, she actually got bang bang in the face. She was actually one of the first people to ring the alarm about Diddy. She still has fragments in her face, to ring the alarm about Diddy and to say the mess he was into. Once she was the first person to get a multi-million-dollar settlement from Diddy. On top of that, allegedly, we don't know how much it was, but it was whatever. At the end of the day, after that, people say that Diddy was merciless, hounded her, harassed her. She actually moved from New York down to Atlanta. It was a trip. Go watch the live if you want to hear her whole backstory. She also has a YouTube channel herself, The Dopest Nerd. Make sure you go follow. We're going to be doing a lot of joint live streams talking about it because, again, this investigation streams back to 2008. Natania actually knew a lot of these people. She literally fed Shine when he was an up-and-coming artist. She knew all of these people, either that or knew of it, and she knew the stuff that Diddy was into. So it's a lot of insight. Natania, welcome, welcome, welcome. I just want to get through these to these super chats. But to finish your question, Kissamooch, because it is federal, Diddy also might be facing a lot of charges from things that happened in California, Florida, but also that could have happened overseas or anywhere. Whenever something happens with the state can only prosecute you for crimes that happen within the state lines. However, if it's federal, not only can they persecute you for anything that happened in any of the American states or territories, they can also persecute you for anything that happened overseas also, especially if an American citizen was present or hurt. We're almost to the end of these super chats. And thank you for being a member for 24 months. We also have Unknown. Thank you so much for becoming a YouTube member. Okay. Now, Natania, what say you? How do you feel about this?
Shout out to you. I did a little live on my channel earlier, and I had to big you up so much because you are this is as much a victory for you as it is for me and all the other victims. First and foremost, you kept your foot on the gas pedal and on the neck. Okay, I want to cast that foot in gold, honestly, because you said all along, and people doubted you, and people came for you, and people try to say this, that, and the third. But guess what? The truth doesn't need equivocation. It is what it is. And so the first thing I want to say is, wop, 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 wop. The second thing I want to say is, what a mighty God we serve. What a mighty God we serve. You know, the what a mighty God we serve is from my spirit self. But that wop, wop, baby, that's the flesh. And I'm still flesh. And, you know, they not like us. So we got to put that out there. You know, like the emperor, the prophet, Cat Williams said at the beginning of the year, it's up in 2024. All lies will reveal. Either at the top of the year, he proclaimed it. Proclaimed. All lies will be exposed. He said, you either on God's side or the other side. And, you know, 2024, the gauntlet has dropped. The other shoe has fell. The fat lady here sang in all the other parables. We know what it is. And I'm so eternally grateful. You know, here's the thing. You know, they say, my mother always would say, a setback is a setup for a comeback. And there was this energy this weekend that was over me. I would say for about a week, but this weekend, there was an energy, a weirdness. Like, I just screamed out to the heavens in my bedroom the other day, and I was like, Father God, show what I need from you is to show me what everybody thinks of me. I said, I don't care what it is. They don't have to be my friend. Just reveal to me what everybody's thoughts are. I want to know what their thoughts are so I can know how to act accordingly. And Father God, contain my mouth and let me speak of your voice. Put something over me to let, when my words come out, I'm speaking from you, God. Contain my tongue. And weirdness was going on, I would say, for the last few days, like the better part of a week. Weirdness ensued. People, I keep the circle very tight. People within that tight circle were bucking and showing me a weird face and all that. And I was just like, wow. You know, and I didn't get froggy with nobody because I went inside. I was like, Father God, what's going on?
Yeah.
And it's okay because I asked God to reveal to me what people think of me or how they feel, whether it was predicated on jealousy, whatever, vengeance, whatever. And he did that. And I was like, okay. They expected me when the situation was confronted, they expected me to get upset. And I was like, oh, no worries. We're fine. You're good. And they literally got upset because I did not get upset. Because that was all I asked. I don't need to know the why. Why doesn't matter for me? Because once you get the answer for the why, what do you get out of it? You don't get any special bonus. There's no trophy that comes with why.
True.
I just said, reveal to me, Lord, reveal to me. Let me never be in a room and not know. And literally all day, I got some emails last week from some people and I was like, why are these people emailing me now? You know who I got phone calls from all day today?
Who?
Harvey Levin's assistant. Called me mad times. And I was just like,
Harvey Levin is the founder, owner, and he's still the main face of TMZ. So you're saying Harvey Levin, TMZ, the owner, operator of TMZ's assistant, called you 1,000,000 times today? About what time did you get those calls?
I literally spoke to her twice, two or three times today. And I had to say, why are y'all so eager to speak to me? This is before he was taking.
Before 8:30 p.m.?
Way before, all day. This weird energy was over me, and the lights in my kitchen, you know, they say when an ancestor passes away, if they're trying to send you a message, the light will flicker. That light in my kitchen flickered so much. I was like, what are you trying to tell me? And I usually
TMZ was calling you. This goes into the theory that my people were telling me, that the reason they were calling you is no one expected Diddy to be arrested tonight. Diddy's lawyers had brokered a deal that he could turn himself in quietly on Tuesday, and he would turn himself in, and then they would have the press conference and seal all this stuff. And the fact that they were calling you before his arrest at 8:30 p.m. tonight, which was a surprise arrest, lets you know that his lawyers, remember I said to everyone, I feel like TMZ, they give news and gossip, but they can be very biased when they want. They always seem to.
That's not the least of it. I got a cease and desist from them on Saturday.
From Diddy's people?
On Saturday. And I was like, what? I mean, even accusing me of participating in like things that are on the internet, documentaries that I had nothing to do with.
What?
And I was just like, I tell everybody, my mama can't make me do nothing. It's above everybody. You want to make me do something? Go get Jesus and come back and holler. Wow. I serve the Most High God. I answer to the Most High God. I don't fear or bow down to no mortal man. Nobody. I do not. And I've said it and proclaimed it over and over again. When I was a kid, you couldn't shut me up and tell me what to do. Yeah. When I was a child, you could not tell me what to do. I used to ask my mother, but why? When I was a child. And because I said so, and whatever else came with it. But I always did. Anybody that knows me can tell you that. I said to Harvey Levin's assistant, I said, why y'all so focused on me all of a sudden? Why am I so important?
And they already knew that you
said to her, in no uncertain term, I've been in these internet streets and out in these truth-telling streets for 24. December will make 25 years. Why y'all so hard on speaking to me today? Why y'all so interested in me? Why?
Yeah.
I said, what? And she was like, I thought she was going to say like, well, one of the producers wants to talk to you. She said, Harvey wants to speak to you. I said, excuse me?
That's the head of TMZ, the guy that you always see making the reports.
What? And I had to tell her, I said, listen, they try to tell me this, that, and the third, and I won't go into the entire discussion. But I said, I literally was like, listen, I said, this conversation is just a conversation between us. I said, and I don't give you permission to use my likeness, my voice, my thoughts, my anything. It does not constitute an approval. Do not use my likeness, my voice, my anything without my express written consent. And this does not give my express written consent. She called me back. And then called me back. And I was like, I said, what? And I was like, Father God, what are you trying to tell me? What I said to her, I said, why are y'all so interested in me all of a sudden? I've been out here. I said, had anybody listened to me? She even was like, oh, well, TMZ didn't exist when this happened. I said, she said, but we did exist during the trial. We tried to run it. So I said, let's keep it 100. Y'all was not favorable to me. You never have been. So why are you interested in me now? I said,
I wonder if that trial, that trial is central also to your trial. Is also central to the case.
Oh, listen.
See, here's the thing with the trial, not like getting your testimony again, because again, with the double jeopardy and blah, 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 blah. But
see,
to the point,
here's why that doesn't apply.
Tell me.
Only double jeopardy laws don't apply when you were improperly charged. It can only be double jeopardy if you were actually charged with that charge. But if people didn't have vital information at the time, or had the vital information and for whatever reason didn't put it forward, and you were not tried and acquitted for a particular charge, double jeopardy doesn't apply. I told them that on News
that's
Nation.
true.
I told them that on News Nation. And even if you were brought up on state charges, the federal government can bring those charges.
You know what? That's true. I was thinking about when it comes to murder charges, but you're right. Murder is the highest, and everything has to get in line. So they can't charge you for a lesser charge. You only get one bite at the apple. But because he was improperly charged and it wasn't the highest, it leads to opportunity.
And
here's the thing.
I kept telling them that on, people's like, oh, double jeopardy. I said, double jeopardy would have to pertain to the exact charges. Remember, he did not get charged with the full suite of charges. He got gun possession and bribery and all that. The bribery was in regards to Wardell Fenderson, the driver of the SUV, because he that wasn't in regards to my charge. So he never was actually charged properly with what was done to me.
Wow, you actually might get justice after all these years.
Listen, the God I serve is an on-time God. I keep telling people, don't come for me, boo. The Most High been putting people in a full Nelson. I'm talking a good old full Nelson for me since 1970, since I was born. I'm talking little kids messing with me. You done dropped your lollipop in the sand and you ain't got no water to wash it off. I'm talking dealing with people. So I know he left me here for a time such as this.
Okay. So you're here, you're doing this. If you guys don't know, this is Natania Rubin. She is the woman that successfully sued Diddy for what happened in the nightclub between Shine, Diddy, and J-Lo. She has long maintained that Diddy was not properly charged and that he played a bigger role and central role in what happened to her. She's even volunteered to have the stratum for her mouth tested. Shine, for his part, actually on Belize 5, which is their national channel, actually said that he wanted he also basically in his political way co-signed and said there's more to the story. She said she's willing to get a test. Let her test. Shine has not come out and said that Diddy was the person with the shooting, but he has said it was not him, and he's trying to get his conviction overturned. So if it's not you, and you and Diddy were the only ones with bang bangs, okay.
Let me ask you a question. Did you get the book?
The Kim Porter book? No, I did not. Well, we'll talk about why though. Okay. Yeah, we'll talk. But why don't we talk about that book? Or do you want to save that for a different live?
We can save it for a different live.
Okay, we'll save that for a different live. So the Kim Porter book, there's excerpts that directly relate to this, even though oddly enough, Kim Porter's best friend came out and said nobody was writing a book. People seriously doubt that because there is a person, it could be man or woman, that is right, that has released excerpts. I believe the whole book is now available.
The book is available on Amazon.
Yeah, the book is now available on Amazon. Actually, I am going to read the book now. It's available on Amazon, and we can have a book club. But they have the whole book. And the book has a lot to say about what happened. Sorry, y'all. What happened that night? What happened but it's from Kim's point of view of what she saw. And oddly enough, it corroborates pretty much everything Natania's either said or suspected. I want to get back into this indictment, though. It's crazy to me. So this weekend, she received a cease and desist order from people alleging to be in Diddy's camp. On top of that, lawyers. On top of that, today, she got 3 calls from TMZ, and it was Harvey the owner and the operator, the front facing, the guy that's on TMZ, Harvey, wanted to speak with her directly. Again, she thought something was up, but again, I can understand what the the search warrant, my mind, thank you, the cease and desist order that came over the weekend. I'm sure you thought it was related to that cease and desist. Again, a lot of people said that Diddy's
I didn't think it was that. I thought it was something totally different. No.
Why did you think it was related?
I just didn't. This energy that lives in me is so strong. It never even occurred to me that it was connected to that. Never occurred to me. I knew something else was amiss. I knew something was afoot. I didn't know what it was, but I knew. I said, what is going on today? Something's going on. And here's the funny thing. I was doing paperwork. I was on one today. When I tell you I got so much, today was so productive for me. I had so much energy and fire in me. I got a whole bunch of paperwork done. I even did some reupholstery.
You did?
I promise you. And when I called to say, hey, your piece is done, it was like, what? Already? How you finished already? That's what kind of day it was. It was just, I'm talking from tip top of morning. I was just on one, getting so many things done. And this energy was afoot. I was like, what is going on today? But I'll be honest, I didn't know it was this, but I knew. I was like, not really sure what it is, but it's something today.
Well, listen, I'm glad you had that feeling. I just want to give a shout out to Lovejoy said, this news made me so happy. He said, good job. My heart goes out to the girls. It does too. The twins posted a picture of their mom with like a heart. And it's just like, again.
I know that, but let me say also to them, I don't wish any malice. I'm not a maliceful person. And I certainly wish any malice to the girls, to all of the children, because ultimately these are their parents. We can see them and regard them in one arena, but I'm a mom, and anybody who's a mom or just a decent person or a father would have to understand that children interact with their parents differently than the world interacts with that person based on whatever their thing is. And so I wish I find joy. Huh?
I don't believe that. I believe that if somebody is a whore, it's kind of like the way if somebody is an abuser to the wife, they might not be hitting the kids, but the kids are getting abused in a different way.
Oh, absolutely.
That's what I mean about interact. Like,
I believe they're exposed to it, but here's the thing. It's like the child of a crackhead. Nobody loves their mama like the child of a crackhead. Baby, might know your mama's in the alleyway doing something strange for a piece of change. Baby, they will beat everybody about their mama. And so you regard your parent from your purview is from a different lens. You will see their flaws. It doesn't mean you're above seeing their flaws. But the purview and the feeling connected. So I don't find any joy for these young ladies. They have suffered a massive loss in their life. But here's what I know about God putting you through trials and tribulations. Greater will come later. God may be allowing them to experience this because they will come forth and do something, possibly to change the world. And who are we to know what will be born out of this? Who are we to know? But
no, definitely. And that's a great way to look at things, and praying for their healing and that they push through. Again, I just think about like They just must miss their mom so much right now because she was a safe haven, you know? She was a storm. That's one thing I can say about, and again, I don't know anybody personally, but from the outside looking in, every woman that Diddy had children with were 100% involved moms. That was their whole world. So I'm sure they miss their moms. C colon 1109 said, wish we had Wendy Williams right now. T said, you're a Wendy. That's such a compliment, but nobody can replace Wendy. I really do wish Wendy Williams was around right now because the stories she could tell, and Wendy
did.
She was there when Bad Boy was being built. Wendy could literally connect the dots and let us know all the players that are in the shadows hiding, hoping they don't get caught. She would literally be there to turn the lights on and be like, it's Diddy, it's this person, and it's this person too. Thank y'all so much, but nobody compared to Wendy, and I wish Wendy Williams was here right now. Literally, the prosecution would have her testifying. I could see her on the stand be like, well,
right? And listen,
you know, Wendy.
The victory is hers as well because she spent a lot of years keeping her foot on the gas pedal as well and on next.
She did. Also, Mel Bethel says, TT, do you think they have enough to put him away without a plea deal? Absolutely. I don't think Diddy's getting a plea deal at all. He is the big fish. By the way, someone in the chat said, what did he do to deserve this? You said hex trafficking, statutory rape, assault, attempted murking. That charge is going to be there. He might even have some murking charges, but it's definitely going to be attempted murking. RICO, again, the fact that they're making this big deal, I'm telling you, when that indictment is unsealed, it's going to be a lot. There's a lot of people worried right now, very worried. Shall you proceed? Mel, you don't need to proceed, but yeah, what did he do to deserve this? Be a monster. YM Droid said, Natania, your angels had you then and they got you now. Sorry for your experience, but glad you're here to see some kind of justice. Exactly. Glad you're here with your beautiful family to see some type of justice. Again, when he got out of that, and I remember watching, before I interviewed you, I watched old footage where he was on the, leaving there with this smug little grin on his face and yeah, I'm glad this and that. And I can't imagine you being there watching it and being like, this is crazy. And again, now you're fully healed and whole. But back then, you were deep in the shadow of trauma. So it must be crazy that as much as he thought he got away with it. And again, this is what I say. I don't think that the universe has this karma robot that's going around scouring, trying to make sure everybody gets it. No, I believe that karma, it's like the way God gives you free will, right? Karma is part of that free will because the decisions you make over and over and over again, it's basically all the consequences. The consequences start catching up to you. And people are like, this is my karma. No, it's the consequences, good or bad, of your actions catching up to you. And it's part of us having free will to make, do something good or do something not. So the fact that Diddy thought he got away with it, but when they say God's watching, it's like you didn't get away with anything. And this is the craziest part. Let me just finish this. It was delayed so that when he thought that he got to his pinnacle, because before then, he was like, you always looking over your shoulder. Diddy got to a pinnacle of wealth, of being accepted by mainstream, looked at as a legitimate billionaire. I had no idea he was into stuff like this, right? And when he got the most comfortable and he thought yes, it's time for the fruits of my labors, it's when it all came crashing down. I feel like this hurts even more than it would have hurt 20 years ago,
So there's a couple of things you said. That smirk in psychology, it's that smirk, that look of condescension is called duping. Yeah. It is the mentality that you have gotten away with something and it produces that little conniving grin that you cannot hold back. It is called duping delight. Look it up. You can use that when you interact with people on a regular basis. You've talked to somebody before and it was their facial reactions were inappropriate to the time of the situation. That's what smirk is. It's duping delight. It's the euphoria felt by getting over the presumption that you got over with something. All complacency breeds contempt. if you think that you are above reproach and you conduct yourself a particular kind of way and you get away with it, you continue to act like that. Practice makes perfect. So if you've always gotten away with it, it breeds contempt. You think you're above reproach. You think there is no, consequence. And that's what happens.
Yeah.
That's the world over. That's everybody. That's a little kid that steals cookies from the cookie jar all the time. Eventually that jar is going to be empty on the countertop and they're going to think I'll come up with a story and that's how we get away with it. Even if they got crumbs in their mouth.
No, definitely. Definitely. Natania, listen, you bring up a lot of good points to duping the light. Exactly. That's exactly that weird smirk, that it's a smirk, but for some reason it sends chill, but also rage at the same time. When I saw it, when he was like, yeah, love, for some reason, I was just like, but you're right. It's an evolutionary response. Like, I do want to say this, right? Thanks everybody for hanging in here. It is getting late. Natania is going to join me tomorrow. We are going, listen, as soon as I get that indictment, join me online. We're going to break that mug down. Natania is going to join me tomorrow when she can. I'm going to put a link to her YouTube channel, The Dopest Nerd. Make sure you guys go and follow and support. She is going to be following this trial as well. But we're going to be breaking this down all tomorrow. So everybody, the day is here. Get your rest. Hold tight, because Diddy's money, my guess, he is going to buy a wave of bots, false engagement, this and that. You already saw what time they were with the statement from the lawyers talking about the Black community. He's been a unifier or uplifted. He spent 30 years uplifting the Black community. Get ready for an onslaught like you. Oh, Diddy's lawyers. Let me read you the statement. I'll just read you a little bit of it. I know it's getting late, but it said, where are we at? The Black community. This guy, Mark Agnifilo, I'm surprised he wrote that with a straight face. He said, we're disappointed with the decision. Oh, so you guys hit the like button and subscribe. We are disappointed with the decision to pursue what we believe is an unjust prosecution of Diddy by the U.S. Attorney's Office. Sean Diddy Combs is a music icon, a self-made entrepreneur, a loving family man, and a proven philanthropist who has spent the last 30 years building an empire, adoring his children, and working to uplift the Black community. He's an imperfect person, but he is not a criminal. To his credit, Sean Diddy Combs has been nothing but cooperative with this investigation, and he voluntarily relocated to New York last week in anticipation of these charges. Please reserve your judgment until you have all the facts. These are the acts of an innocent man with nothing to hide, and he looks forward to clearing his name in court. Yep, that's her statement. He's done nothing but uplift the Black community. He is the perfect father that, listen, they are pouring it on thick, and that's okay. That's what a lawyer is supposed to do. But I do have to say, Too Short 23 said he'll have plenty of freak offs in prison. Justice finally. Thank you for being a member for 5 months. You know, the funny thing is, part of me was thinking that about Diddy in prison, like his sick self will probably enjoy it. But if there's somebody like Diddy, who I don't know if he is, but from the reports we read, he displays all the characteristics of a malignant narcissist. I think Diddy going to prison will be the worst thing ever, because he needs social standing. He needs esteem. He needs praise. And even though he might even get into prison and run-ish, I just don't believe that's going to be enough for him. I think he is going to crack and he is going to crumble. And I think he's going to lash out because he's so angry and try to bring everybody with him that he can. What do you think?
I think that, first of all, I hear you. You have always been Johnny on the spot, but something just keeps resonating in my head. I'm a part of the Black community too, and I don't feel uplifted.
That shit about the Black community, I said this guy, but Diddy's letting us know what his play is. He's letting us know what his play is, and he's letting us know what he's going to do. So at the end of the day.
Well, a wise old lady said to me before, everybody that share your skin ain't your kin.
Yeah. And that's the thing. And it's funny how the biggest monsters want to literally throw their palms up and be like, no, look, 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 I'm just like you. It's funny how the biggest monsters are always running back to the community, asking, hide me, keep me safe. I've done so much for you. At the end of the day, Diddy being a philanthropist, okay. And like, what's your point? That was your point. You gave back a little bit of the, like, at the end of the day, the fact that he even has that mentality that you can buy your way out of the results of your actions. You know what I'm saying? If I'm beating you every day and I'm letting you go on shopping, it don't matter. At the end of the day, you were an abuser and you need to be held liable. So, Natania, are you going to be able to join us? Are you going to be able to join us? I would say tomorrow, but early this morning, girl. Thank you for joining so late. I really, really appreciate it.
Anything.
No, don't. Listen,
no, I mean,
I really
appreciate it sincerely. Anything for you. You have been a light in.
Oh, thank you.
The darkness. There have been times throughout this process where I know, you know, I may present well and I come on camera and I'm like bubbly and I have hard times too. You know, my faith is strong, but I have hard times too. And I'll tell you, you are always a light in the darkness for me. And I appreciate that. I truly appreciate it. I really do not feel like you get the credit that you deserve. I do. You receive your adulation and your love, but you deserve so much more than you're granted.
Thank you, Natania. And you know, I think the world of you. You are such an inspirational person, a woman of God, even to the fact of it is what time? 2 a.m. in the morning, and you are still here because you're going to see this through. But we're going to get some sleep. We're going to go through that indictment. A link to Natania's YouTube page will be in the description box if you're watching this on playback. I'm sure you will be. And also, indictment. Listen, it's going to be a lot going on tomorrow. Make sure you join. And even if you have to hit playback, and you know I'm going to be doing up to the minute, and I'm about to get off right now and call and text everybody I know to beg for more information because, baby, so many people have been keeping quiet about the actual meat of that indictment, but we're in for a few surprises. They said we're in for a few surprises from it, okay? Oh, also, really quick, what's the name of Kim's book? People want to know.
What is it called? Oh, I don't have my other phone down here with me.
You know, don't worry about it. We'll let you know in the
I think it's Lost Words, something like that. Kim's
Lost Words. Kim's Lost Words. It don't matter. Join us on the chat in the morning. We'll put it in the description box. Okay. So we will see you guys soon. Thank you everybody for joining. This day is here. It happened at 11 at night. We got no word of it. Diddy was sitting in county jail, well, federal jail, Midtown at 8:30 p.m. But I'm happy. I'm very, very happy. Okay. So you guys hit that like button and subscribe on the way out. Natania's information will be in the description box. And we will see you tomorrow. All right, everybody. Bye. Thanks again.